call this meeting to order on. Kenny?
Okay, read the minutes of the last meeting.
All right. Bills last month, we had Minnesota Valley Testing Labs, a bill for $208, license renewal for Dennis Wood, Grand Rapids Conference for Dennis for $500, League of Minnesota Cities, for our insurance and membership, and then there were some miscellaneous expenses that Denny had presented. All of those were approved by board members. Old business, job descriptions continues to be a work in progress. Newly appointed board members have reviewed and signed those job descriptions. Board vacancies were filled last meeting by Matthew Anderson and Paul Slesser. And we do have, they reviewed the job descriptions as well. The website is still under construction and we left it as an open item for future discussion. New business, we discussed the investment fund, but there was no new statement last month. And Dean did verify that all dividends that we received from that account are deposited directly into our cash funds. We approved Rasmussen Lawn Services as our provider. They do the mowing and upkeep out of the ponds for us. They've been with us for a number of years, so they were approved. There's been no change in their pricing that they provide to us. We should be getting a dividend check from the League of Minnesota Cities. Denny was going to follow up on that, the status of it, and report back this month. Then he was in contact with Pete Stauber regarding funding for our expansion, and he provided the necessary documentation for the $1.9 million funding request that we have. MPCA made an inquiry of our future plans for a district. One of the options would be to try to eliminate an I&I, which is an input and infiltration system. The last report that Denny provided showed that we had an increased amount of water passing through our system of 657,000 gallons, which normally we see 275 to 375,000 gallons. It's a question of, could it be caused by meltdown? It was agreed that we need to have more data so that we can document and create a trending data going forward. DNR update, grant rights, that we're still in the running for state funding. We're currently in the front 5 runners for the grant. So once federal funds are released, we should have more information. Road committee, we were gathering bids and presenting it this month at this meeting. The shed pump house, we discussed we need to clean and dispose of any unnecessary documents. There's several boxes of documents that need to be gone through and put into plastic totes and stored off of the ground to make sure that there's no water damage. We approved $500 for that cost of having that done. It was signed off the last meeting for myself to be a signer on the account. All board members signed off on the meeting minutes for that. We discussed there's 2 acres of land collectively owned by the residents of Shorewood and how the rent money is collected from this and how it's returned to the residents of Shorewood. Then he was going to check on this and follow up at this meeting. Manhole repair, there's a manhole repair that needs covered. Denny received a quote last year, but it had not been completed, so he was going to check with the contractor to make sure that that bid was still good and follow up this month. Sue had brought to our attention that there was a culvert on Lakeview Drive. We discussed a concern about water collecting the front yard of a residence of Marv and Jean Johnson, and that they were going to try to take a look at it and consult with Premier, and we were getting bids on possible solutions. And the last thing we discussed was the possibility of providing tours for the ponds for interested residents and updating our current maps as a potential future project. So we'll keep it on the agenda to discuss at our next meeting. Any questions?
Motion to approve the minutes as they've been read.
Matt?
What is the wireless?
Pardon?
What is the wireless code to access the?
I do not know.
Okay. How are you on the internet?
I'm not.
You're not on the internet. Okay.
I'm just looking at my Word document.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Otherwise, normally I do my hotspot, but I don't think the reception down here is great.
Okay. All right. I will have to look into that for next meeting.
Yeah.
I got a question. So if we pay an operator for this MPCA, wondering about the I&I, we have an operator running our system, checking it every month. How do we not already have the data for that?
We have,
Ain't that what we're paying you for?
that's correct.
So
We
provide
have,
us that data.
pardon me,
Provide us that data.
I have, every single
Where
month.
is it? I don't see it.
Every single month,
Where is it going, Danny?
through the Pollution Control Agency, and if you want copies of all the reports that are online, you can review them, or if you want to see the last 12 months, I'll bring them in.
Please do.
Okay?
Thanks.
every month they're required.
We will be having a website that hopefully those numbers will be,
We can
Okay.
create, right, I think we could have some sort of an operator report, and that'd be one of the highlights on the operator report.
awesome.
I think that's something that we, you know, as we build this website, we decide what we want. I think that's it's important for everything to share, and we can trend that I&I, because that seems to be one of the worst culprits or one of the biggest maintenance problems on a year-to-year basis, depending on how much rain and stuff that we do get on a year-to-year basis. Now, I think there was something I didn't understand. Can you read that portion about we have to pay somebody to come in, and what was that?
Not that we were paying anybody. So the MPC made an inquiry of our future plans for a district. One of the options would be to try to implement an INI. And that's what I mean, this is all new verbiage to me. So the last report talked about the increase in water passing through our system, but there was no talk of a cost associated to it.
So over the years, we've spitballed a bunch of ideas and tried to control it. Other than that, we really haven't done anything, or there's nothing's really been done on the line.
No, we've attempted to do televising the lines to find out if there's cracked joints, if there's broken valves, if we're getting advice from raised residents, which I strongly believe that we are, by way of sump pumps and so forth. But the only way to prove that is to put the camera down there and find out where the water is really coming from. So it come down by way of your lateral, and I think really you understand how that works.
I totally get that, but it says right here, we need to see more data. The data is there. Where do we need to see it? Provide the data.
The data is within the monthly flows.
Yep.
Okay, if you go back previous.
And how are you gonna separate the I&I out of that if you don't know where?
Well, if you look at what is traditional, 275 to 375
Yeah.
in the on months, to what we are today, there's a big gap there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so where's that water coming from?
Well, we
That is the question.
obviously know where it's coming from.
No, we don't. We haven't televised lines.
Well, we know it's I&I.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the difference. That's the balance between the sewage flow and the amount that's going totally through. You know, the balance is the I&I. So that I&I flow is just going to change on a year-to-year basis depending on how much water, you know, is actually going on. How
And I'm
much
sure it's
rain.
been more since the water's up. I'm sure
So this is a heavy year for sure. But
I
I
have a
think
question quick, so I can make sure I have this correct. You mentioned sump pumps, but what did you say, televising or
We're televising the lines.
So
Put a
basically it's
camera inside
camera
the
down,
line.
okay.
so. I think what Denny's trying to say is the system's old enough that there is some I&I just naturally coming in from our old piping and our old manholes and so on and so forth. We know that. It needs to be maintained. But from his experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I've heard is that there's more problems other than just, you know, the maintenance. Now, how do we find out where most of the I&I is coming from? We almost have to break down the system and, you know, do some investigation. How do we do that? Do we pay somebody to do that? What are the things that we do to try to correct that? There's a lot of things that could be done. I think collectively we have to decide how we want to approach it. Because over the years, it seems like this I&I is getting a more problem, worse and worse problem.
Is it increasing certain times of the year when we look at data? Like, is it always in the spring so we know it's melt off?
Well,
Or is it?
that's the thing. I think that's what Joe's asking for. If we have this data and we can at least do a monthly basis, we can collectively come up with a better idea of how to approach it. Right now, that data is kind of locked into what you've been doing as an operator. It's not out there for all of us to see unless you report it. And we don't always report it at this meeting. So what we're saying is we should focus on trying to report or get some sort of a trend on what flowage is happening every month. And then we can collectively decide, or, you know, we're not stupid, we can figure it out. If it's raining a lot, we're going to understand that, you know, it's probably from I&I. So I think that's kind of what you're getting at. So I guess what I'm hearing is we need to make sure that we collect data or we report the data once a month in the operators portion here. When you do your operators report on what you're doing.
Okay, but I've been doing that for the last 18 months, is every month I come in, generally in the springtime of the year when we have the runoff. There's two major reasons. One is either cracked joints are broken, valves
Yeah,
or sump pumps.
right.
Everybody has a sump pump in the lower areas, and they're pumping the water up. It's not going out to the lake, it's not going out on the ground, it's going right back into the sewer system. That's a problematic situation.
Yeah, we're assuming that. I mean,
That's right.
you know, we're assuming some
I
people
can prove it
are.
with half a dozen different houses. We've tried to approach those people, and they won't have anything to do with it. But moving forward, if we can get it on camera, it should be done every 10 years. The system's 30 years old. So not being done over 30 years, we're gonna find some other issues.
Right.
Where they are, I don't know. I've got a good idea where they're at because I've been with the system a long time. But as far as the data being reported, it is on the monthly flow sheet every single month. And if you want a written copy of that, that can be available. I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but you know, you say, yeah, there's a big gap there.
Well,
What are you gonna do with it?
we can trend it, but I think what needs to
You're
happen.
saying we need to collect it, Denny, you collected it, but you haven't let
Sure.
anybody else.
Well, I have for the last 18 months, Joe.
That's great that you have on the MPA side.
No, sir, I'm talking about with the board members. I have
board
repeatedly
members
said,
seen-
we have I and I, we have I and I.
No, I know that, Denny, I've been to the meetings,
Uh-huh.
I've been here to try to solve it, but you just keep kicking can down the road here. Let's do something here.
That's
Have
fine.
you
It's
board
gonna
members
cost-
seen these flow sheets each month?
No, we haven't seen.
Okay, there's the answer, Denny.
No, we haven't seen the flow sheet, and we've had to ask the question, how can we trend that? And we've heard that the last two meetings. We've basically started to focus on that the last two meetings, where you've told us that typically, and of course, I have no reason why not to trust you, because you're our operator. We typically flow 250 gallons a month. The last few months, from your reports, to the it's been up to right around 600 in the spring, so that's a pretty good indication. So it's something that we need to pay attention to closely, and that's why Joe's asking for us to be able to, you know, how do we report it? What's the best way to report it? I could look at that sheet, and I'm probably not gonna be able to pick it out, you know. It'd be nice for the operator to
It's
come
pretty
out.
easy to read though, it's pretty
Well,
easy to read.
well, still,
It
that-
shows the daily flow every single day.
I think we just ask the question once a month, and you have that piece of paper as a backup saying, I'm seeing a.
What I can do is I'll go back into the last 6 months from January 1,
Okay,
and I'll dig out the data and I'll email it to each and every one of you.
all right, and then maybe we can start building some sort of a trend or a graph on.
Is that possible?
Absolutely.
All right,
I already did that,
Yeah, I know you did.
yeah.
And so
Well, it went
I-
from February, it was about 240,000 gallons a month, and then in March it went up to 600, and this month, or last month, it was 723,000. So based off those factors alone, your ponds are 2.1 million gallons. So if you're pumping 700,000 gallons of water into those 2.1 million gallon ponds, in 90 days, you will have to do a
a
discharge.
discharge.
You won't have an option. So if you run into that problem through the winter, let's say, you're gonna be running into issues. And
Pretty hard to discharge the ponds in the winter.
it's impossible, everything's frozen. And so, you know, and I even look back a year ago and averages were doing 200,000. And so it was like around April 15th or 16th, we started hitting 40-degree days, and all of a sudden the flows went from 14,000, 16,000 to 25,000, 31,000, and they've stayed there.
But when can you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name's Bill Wood. I've kind of been cutting my teeth on my operator's apprenticeship with Shorewood for the last, I don't know, 4 years.
Okay. And we do have a resume here with Bill's information. So it'd be really easy, and when you said you're looking at this, is it on a graph, is it on a bar
I put it on a
graph?
spreadsheet. I put it on a spreadsheet so that I could kind of get a better idea, because I was like, man, these are 700,000, is far more than I'd ever seen.
Okay, so you're keeping the data on a spreadsheet. And then
We go back in pump readings, so that we have the ability to go back as far as we want and look at pump readings.
Well, that's what we've been asking for, and we think it's that simple.
Yeah.
But if we even create some sort of a pie chart for layman's terms that they can see that, and it's easy to explain,
Yeah.
I think that's what Joe's asking for, and I think some of the other people have been asking for that too, so. You know,
Talking about a chart, you can back up to that website I gave you, that you didn't go into and look at the graph.
Mhm.
And I think I gave it to Dean also, and you had access or privy to go and watch the daily flow on both those.
I had
These other people are all new, so they wouldn't know what that website is.
Right.
But you can go on that website.
But I wasn't able to access and do anything.
I understand. But you can look at it, and that was the purpose of giving you that information. But to answer Joe's question, if you want to look at it, you can look at it every single day, and I'll give you the website to do that. You just can't make any changes.
I think,
Well, that's all your question?
No, it's not, that's all.
Okay, you want to see 6 months?
No, I wanna see action, is what I wanna see. We know
Well, you
there's
can
a
print it out.
problem. Make a decision to camera the line, do something.
Okay, but I've been asking to do that for the last 18 months, okay, for the last, longer than that. And the funds have either not been there, or we hired a guy that was not supportive enough to actually get a camera down in there. And he pulled back off, and he says, I can't finish it, and he never charged us. We tried to keep it over, but moving forward, I've got 2 bids here. Moving forward, I got 2 bids here that I'm gonna present tonight. And as long as the whole district is prepared to spend $25,000, because that's what it's gonna cost to camera the system. And you think you can get it done for less than that, I hate like hell to have to spend that kind of money. I'd rather fix the problem on site. But I'm not going to spend any
How do you know the
money.
problem until you camera?
We have to.
yeah.
And that's where we're at.
So, I mean, and how does the district not have $25,000?
Because we've funded many other projects, not just the cameras, not just the roads. We've funded many other projects that you may or may not know about.
Well, that's
Okay, we did that, you know, and we're past that now. We're not going any further with it until other funding comes in, so that the expansion can be completed. But until that money starts coming in, which we're being told that, have you gotten any money yet from the county? Nothing yet. The taxes are just being paid, and it's being paid by tax revenue. So as time goes on, it'll keep coming and coming, but it's a very slow process, and that's the way the government works. You know, the government's not gonna send us any money until they receive the money from the constituents. But, I'll give you the website if you wanna look at it, every single day, Joe, if you got the time to do it, and I'll send you 6 months of the data. What you're gonna do with it, you can see the changes every single month. And then you come back to this board and ask why. Let's camera it. If you're in favor of it, go to your constituents throughout the community, and we're gonna have to put together enough money so we can pay this guy, because I got a quote right here tonight.
Is that something that we have to, I mean, we've been kicking this problem down as long as I've been on the board. I've been
Been a
here
long time.
3 years, we keep talking about it every year. I mean, in 3 years, we could have done a portion, and a portion, and a portion, and spread that budget out over a little bit of a time to come up with a conclusion of what needs to be fixed over that time.
I'd like to make a comment. When Denny and I have had some conversations on this on site, and he's got some areas that he thought would be highly likely.
Hotspots.
Yeah, and we would want to be cameraing those areas first.
Right.
And just, yeah, we'd spend $10 or $5, just throw a number out there. We think this is a nice spot, camera it, get that fixed. Not worry about anything else and see what sort of improvement we get on a month-to-month or year-to-year basis on it, and then move to the next section.
I think that's the way that we need to approach it. I mean, to me, I think that's the right way to approach
Yeah.
it.
But if we can't get it in like the first, half mile or first mile that we scope, then we start looking at doing more and more of it.
And I've paid attention to engineering. When the engineering people are coming back to us, they point, because of all their experience, they point heavily towards the pump pumps. They say, come out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and let's start lifting all the manholes. And you're gonna see water gushing down through those manholes. Dean and I went out the other day and we lifted 2 manholes. I think you were amazed how much water was running at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's nobody home. Most people are at work. Where's this water coming from?
Yeah.
We got hot spots. We've been there. Dean's been there. He's seen it. Now just tonight, Rick, he met me at a pump station, at the main pump station, and I lifted the manhole there. The manhole's full of water right up to the top. Where'd that water come from? It's either a blowout of a valve. It's either the snow that came on top of the manhole and it melted and settled down, or the topography of the road, because all the road angles down this way, the water runs. We won't know that, but we have to put a garbage pump out there and suck the water out of that vault that's in the ground. Rick saw it, right burning to the top. There's a big control valve down there. Can't see it until you get the water out of it. So I've got a bid for making that repair also. These things move very slowly, but you have to remedy the problem as you find it.
And we want to be transparent about it too. I've only been here 3 or 4 months, but you know, we definitely recognize that there's a transparency issue, and we're working diligently to forge a path forward to have a website to be able to post the data so that our neighbors can see this.
I think we get the information out there, more people are gonna wanna get involved, they'll try to solve the problem. And I think that's been the biggest
Exactly.
problem over the years,
Yeah.
so.
People don't know that there's an issue.
Right, so I think moving forward,
Prevent the oil from going down. We've got a mechanic in the community that dumps his drain oil out of the manhole. That's proven, because it's right out there at ponds. I took a sample of it, took it to the lab, and I said, what is this stuff? That's machine oil or some kind of oil. That's not algae, it was oil. And I got the data to back it up.
again, it's all about educating it, because quite frankly, people don't.
Exactly, you sit
People
here
don't
and
know.
brag that you have all this data, Danny. What the hell are you doing with it? Go over to the guy.
Every single month I bring it in, okay? Look on the website, and I'll give you the last 6 months. We've got that. Is 6 months good enough for you?
Yeah, that'd be
I'll give you the last 6 months. I'll email it to you.
perfect.
And you can take a look at it. But every day the flow is there. It has to be monitored daily, as you probably know yourself anyway.
I do, so we got the data. What I'm asking for is a solution. Every month you come in here and talk about it and you do nothing.
It's not me, it's this board. Okay, you have to get the right people to do it.
The board couldn't do nothing for 6 months because you weren't here, Danny. Nothing happened for 6 months.
Well, that's not my fault though, because I wasn't here, okay? The board knew I wasn't leaving. I leave every fall.
Yeah.
And I leave, I
Well,
come back
that's a
every
change
spring.
we need to make, Danny.
So, that's very rapid, by June 30 this month, okay? And it's comments like this, that I'm not doing my job, that makes me do what I'm doing. But I've been here 30 years, that's enough.
Absolutely.
So it's enough, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And everyone has agreed to that, I hear from the constituents. I'm all for it, that's fine. I just want to be able to leave it in good grace. All right?
Joe's one of the new faces on the board, and a couple other, Matt, and who else knows, or who knows who else is gonna be doing it, but, we're looking at making some changes too. I love the community, you know, your kid's been hanging out, he's been a blast to hang out with. All the neighbors that I'm running into are kind of entertaining to see and whatnot.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I was pointing my grandkid back. Okay. But I want to make sure we can keep our expenses down. I got some serious questions about transparency too. I'm looking at some new ways of communicating with people. Let's not dwell on what happened in the last, 6 months or whatever. Give some of us new guys a chance to make a couple changes and figure out what's going on and figure out what's the best way of making the positive changes that we want without having to double our dues. Because you might be upset about what's going on right now, but write me a check for $250 for next month, and the following month, and the following month. Because there are associations that are doing that. And I don't want to be one of them. So give us a few months, give us feedback,
I'm
but
sorry.
give us the opportunity to do something.
You guys have had plenty of time to do something. It is time to act.
60 days, 60 days.
I get it, Paul, I've been
Yeah.
at these meetings.
Mhm.
I know what you're saying. The board before you did nothing.
Yeah,
So I'm saying we need to start doing something. I don't
Yeah.
want to wait 2 more months until you get familiar with it.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
No, we don't, I agree.
yeah.
Okay, so approval of the minutes. Denny made a
I
motion.
I made the motion and then we got off track.
Second.
Second, please, Matt.
All in favor, aye.
Presentation of bills. There was an email that went out earlier this week about Premier Asphalt, and that decision was made to vote. There was an electronic vote for that to move forward with it. A bid for the road repair. Rich, do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, sure. So, every year we go through, I call it a road committee. A few of us went through and we went and marked the hot spots that needed to be repaired, patched, some of the worst parts of the road. Every year it's something. Then I met with Premier, who did our roads the previous year, and we went through and we, took tally of how much road needed to be repaired, came up with square footage. I don't have that in front of me right now, but the reason we kind of pushed it forward over the last month was we had to make a decision to accept at least the amount so he could lock in our price, because of last Friday it was gonna go up 20%, which would have been a $5,000 increase if we just locked in. He would pre-buy, lock us in. We still have time to develop that bid and work with it. So there's still a little bit of work on that, which I will continue to do this month. We'll kind of lock down exactly what's gonna be repaired. There was two options in there. One option was just to do the patching like we did last year. And then there was another option to seal coat the main road, the heavy road, which is where the buses go, and the main traffic, which is Shorewood Drive, and the main loop that goes around to Lakewood Drive. That road was repaired, must have been 5-6 years ago with Knife River. They came in and put a heavy base down and a heavy course, and they suggested that within 5 years it should be seal coated. And I think that there's two different types of seal coat. You can seal coat with, basically you fill the cracks and put the seal coat over it. And the other one is the rock method, where they come in and they put the oil down, they put the rock down on top of it, and the traffic crushes the rock into it. Now that's the other method of seal coating. Premier, he doesn't recommend it, because basically you're deteriorating, or you're driving the rocks into the road, and you're changing that substructure. That was his opinion.
We've used Preferred in the past last year.
No, Premier.
Oh, it was Premier. Okay, that was my question, because I didn't know if it was the same company.
Right.
Because in the past, we've made payments to them.
Right, and it was the
So are they
Premier.
still willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay,
As far as terms go, he said we can work out terms.
okay,
All right, and they're very, very flexible.
yeah.
Last year the terms were 50% down, and then we can come up with a monthly after that to pay up. I didn't seek any other outside bids, only because last year when I did it, it was a struggle. It took me 3 months just to get people to come and look at it. We were quite happy with Premier. When the bids came in with the other three, they were not the lowest, but they were only maybe $200 higher than the lowest. So
Was the culvert on Lakeview Drive from last meeting, was that looked at all? Did you get a chance to?
I didn't get a
look at
chance to look at that. We still have that opportunity, because I didn't have a chance to talk to Sue. I didn't know
Okay.
exactly where that was.
that? Okay,
But that's something that can still be addressed,
okay.
along with, extra edging with class 5 in some hot areas,
It's not class 5,
recycle.
recycled concrete. With class 5, it just washes away. That's one of the things I'd ask for, that any road that's been removed, that be backed up with the edges about 2 feet, 24 inches or so. That's an engineering and county standards are.
And that's what we
There's
decided.
6 years of contract, we did that last year, remember, I think you had to call the guy back.
Yep.
And he did put it in, and if you drive by there today, those edges are just as intact now as they were the day you put it in. Otherwise, people are running off the edges.
Yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah, you said it was up to an electronic vote,
Or their email went out
an email.
prior to.
We need to make a motion today
Yeah.
to carry on with that. That basically, that email was just to get the okay to have them lock in a price. That's what that was all about. So a motion should be made to move forward with Premier to solidify that bid.
See, I've got a problem with the entire process. And I'm new with it, I know some processes that you don't, but I don't have access to the information that I had just a couple of years ago. It bothers me, because I think we might have violated state open meeting laws, and we're taking a bid from somebody, a sole source bid, when there's multiple contractors out there that do this type of work. And we didn't advertise for a bid. We should be putting something in like the Pine County paper or Pine City paper, request for proposals, and be very specific about what we're after. I don't want to go to jail, okay? And I stated that in the email string. And I would make a motion to put the email string that we had for our group discussion to be a part of the minutes before we do any sort of approval on the on the bid for Premier,
Okay.
because I don't like the process that was made. And I'm ready, willing, and able to give you a hand with it. I might need to talk to the attorney from the League of Cities or whatever it is, or, somebody in Rush City or, Isani County or Chisago County, so that we can gain access to the state contracts and the bid system that they use, so that we make sure that we're following the rules. We're gathering in taxpayer dollars and we're spending taxpayer dollars. And like I said, I don't want to go to jail over, somebody asking questions about why did you bid this out to this guy? Is that your brother-in-law's cousin's girlfriend that runs the place? Sure.
What tax dollars are we collecting?
The tax dollars we collect, well, I think some people are assessed if they do not, does that fall in? I don't,
The money that
That's
we are-
totally different. The associate, the $80 we pay is not a tax.
If you don't pay it, where does it go? On your tax statement.
That's great, but it's not a tax. The state.
I would want to get a legal opinion on that.
The only people who are allowed to tax you is the federal government or the state government. This is
Or the Met
association.
Council, or the city of Rush City,
That
or.
council is not a tax.
Yeah, it is.
No, I disagree with that. I deal with that on a daily basis. That is not a tax.
I strongly disagree with that statement.
Perfect.
Okay.
well, is that something that you?
But-
you want-
Well, I see what you're saying, but I totally disagree that the $80 we give this district, that is not a tax.
I think that we are taking that money from our neighbors, and we need to have a process in place. And the state already has processes. They've already set this stuff out for bids. They've already got guaranteed prices and methods to retaliate in case the work doesn't come out in the manner that it should. So I offered a motion earlier in this email string, and I rescinded that motion because I couldn't get the correct or the answers that showed the transparency that I was after. And,
So,
yeah,
let me ask you a question then, not only for roads, we should be doing that for any bid that we take in.
there are guidelines that the state has for various parts and services or goods and services that require written, requests for proposals and a bid from multiple vendors, or else just putting it out there and seeing what sort of bids you may get. If you were, I'm not sure what the dollar amounts are. That's again why, maybe I should be in contact with the attorney.
Is that for just associations or what?
We're not an association.
I know, but who is this referencing has to do this?
Well, I work for the Muncie School District, and I believe it was a threshold of $20,000 in a single year. If you met that threshold or went beyond that, or you expected to, you would have to obtain 3 bids, I believe it was. But then as soon as you made that effort to attract those bids, and you found a vendor, you no longer had to do those. You no longer had to get a bid, for the rest of the year.
If you were doing similar work with,
So, and what I was working with was technology.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were gonna do, over $20,000 worth of technology purchases through, whomever, and more than often it was like installers. How much do they charge to install X in the classroom, B, that's what I'm familiar with. I believe it's $20,000, but that's a totally different class than roads and bridges and whatnot, so I don't know if that carries through.
No,
And-
are these roads? Basically, it's a driveway. I mean, it's a private driveway, it's not,
It is a private system.
it's a whole private system, so does that fall underneath this?
I don't
I mean,
know.
really, this is just an extension of our driveways, otherwise we'd have dirt out there.
Yeah, they are private roads. That is a good point.
But we're collecting common money.
I totally agree with you. I think that we should get the lowest possible bid for our neighbors. I totally agree.
Transparency.
And I think that we
Everyone
ought
know where money.
you and I ought to be, in the whole group, maybe ought to have a meeting with the attorney and just say, what do we need to do, what do we not need to do?
I think we should. I think we should do that. Whenever we have a question about something, I think that we should get it all out in the open so that our neighbors can see what we're doing. And even if it may take a month longer, I think that's a necessary step to do.
Case in point is what Joe just brought up. We're kicking the can down the road. We haven't done anything, and Joe is saying for many years. Several months have gone by, we've done nothing. I myself, as the operator, have been pounding and pounding and pounding. We need to get culverts replaced or repaired. We need to fix the valve system. We need to get the cameras. We've gone nowhere with this. Joe just reiterated that. And he's pointing the finger at me, saying, I'm not doing my job.
So what should be
I am
our-
doing my job.
What's the action item?
Okay,
Yeah,
but
what's-
the point I'm trying to get at is that, we have to be able to have the funds to move forward. I don't wanna hire a vendor and say, well, geez, can you wait 6 months now for your money? These people are expected to get paid when we get done with the service. We don't have the money. We don't take in enough money.
That's a huge problem.
Does this board wanna raise the association dues? And it's not association, the fees that we charge every month? Man, I think $80 a month is quite a bit now. But I
Yeah.
guess if you look at other communities, they're paying more. The city of Harrison, the last time I checked, was $135 a month.
Well, that's
Much
maybe
more amenities.
then maybe we need to do a recheck of where we're at, and, you know, I don't want to pay more money. I don't want the dues to go up, but at the same time, is it realistic? I mean, we have to fix our roads, we have to fix our sewer system, we have to do these things, and it needs to be done yesterday, so, we
In
need
the 30
to
years I've been here, we've never raised the dues 1 cent. We've always worked within our means.
And you probably have more people getting involved, so on and so forth, but I think now you're scrubbing down to a bigger problem. There should be a budget set up every year of how much we're gonna spend within the sewer, for the roads, and for the parks. Them are the three things that we have to deal with within
And
this
salaries.
meeting. And salaries.
But ain't that budget already set because it's broken down to 27 and 53?
Well, that was established how many years ago?
You know?
So I
Oh,
think
I know, but I'm saying the budget's there. Is it correct budget? Probably not.
probably not. So it needs to be scrubbed down, and it needs to be relooked at, and we have to make some decisions. Is the $27 a month enough for the roads? Is the, the remainder 50 enough to operate or, and take care of our system? Just from my past experience of sitting here for 2 years, no, it's not. Because all we do is we squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and, we hope. I mean, last year we had to pull how much money out of our dividends to take care of the roads.
As well as many other expenditures that we had at expansion.
Right, exactly.
We spent a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah, but
You're aware we're not.
But we're done spending on that, correct?
Yep.
We're not spending, we're not gonna put another 10 cents on it.
So since the first of the year, if there's 120 homes that have brought in $80, you're looking at $9,600 there, and we're already the 6th month in. We should have $57,000. I'm not saying we should have $57,000, but there should be a good chunk of change in the bank account.
Where are we at?
I actually can't get into our account right now. I need to call them and have them reset the password because it will not let me log in.
Okay.
So we don't know how much money we
No,
have.
and I need to get the reports from Karen Althoff too, so I can email those out once I get them.
And I don't know if there's 120 homes putting that amount in.
There's
We're just
130.
putting 130.
You're just throwing some numbers out there.
I'm just throwing, there should be some money to do some stuff. I mean, if you're looking at a bill of 25,000 to camera and they're Paul's talking about, well, we should just do the hotspots. How do we not have $10,000 to $15,000 to do that?
I agree, and I'm all in favor of doing something. Call it hotspots, call it whatever you want, just the lower half for sure. Because I believe that's where all the problems are.
And I would agree.
Do something, I agree.
Okay, so this Premier Asphalt estimate, are we not making a motion on it? Are we putting it on hold? What's the plan?
Well, I guess before we make a motion to approve the road repairs, we need to understand exactly what we're doing at 100%. I mean, right now, we've locked in a certain amount of square footage of product to patch the roads. Until we really understand what has to happen, which I think is gonna be by July, when hopefully they can fix our roads after that, which I know we can. It's gonna have to be tabled till next month, until I come up with all the proper information.
And now that you're tabling it, who's gonna get the answers? And are the answers gonna be here by July?
Well, because I'm already into it, Joe, I will finish up with what I've been doing.
The answer is to Paul.
Yeah, the legal aspect.
Oh, as far as the legal aspect.
Give me a phone number of the attorney, and we'll make a call.
You know, just sitting here and listening, and I think I've told people my experience with sewer and all that is plunging the toilet. But sitting here listening, evidently you have done road check and whatever and have dealt with different people. I don't understand why we feel that it can be better when you have someone who has done that work. If we wait now and push it off a month, and we're worried about money, we have attorney fees and they charge by the hour, and we also have a $5,000 extra amount because of cost of supplies, and who knows how much that's gonna go up. I guess I just am confused about why all of a sudden
The
it's such
kickback
an
and the
issue.
fightback? Yeah.
Because my question that tail off of that is that if we consult with the attorney, there's obviously a fee, every email,
Right.
every time we talk to them. So how do we go about approving that charge? So if you reach out to we're gonna have to make a motion now to say, we're making a motion to authorize Paul to reach out to the attorney and discuss it, because there's gonna be a cost incurred with that.
So right now, what I'm hearing is we're talking about all these procedures and policies that, you know, we think are great ideas and to help control our board. And yeah, I think so. I think those things we need to work on and we need to move forward on. But, you know, how big of a fight do we want to take on? Do we keep moving forward and take care of what we've been doing the same way as we have in the past? I would say yes. And I think we all realize that there's problems out there that need to be fixed. And this board doesn't move fast. I mean, we're all, you know, we do this once a month. So, and I think, you know, we as new people here realize we have to get this and work it better. I think we're moving in the right direction, but we can't let this bog us down with not getting the road fixed. Doing the repairs that Denny has to do as an operator, we have to figure a way to get over this hurdle. And I understand you're concerned about some things too. So if you want to take the time on your time to just investigate it without, do you have to call an attorney? Do we have to do that? I think that's the best. I mean, nobody's come down and put their boot on our throat.
That's true.
Over how many years
That's true.
that we've been here?
I was gonna say
You know, we've got an award sitting on, he gets
Yes.
a yearly award from the MCPA's, the only people that regulate our sewer system, saying it's a great sewer system. So something's happening.
We're on the cover of their textbook.
Right.
In fact, right?
So I think, I mean, this is not all doom and gloom, but we gotta keep moving forward. I think that's what's.
I like the idea of moving forward with the roads, as long as we get the work done that we've asked to be done, the additions that I talked to you about.
Yeah.
About adding to the contract and move forward. And then you wait another month, you can push it on another month, and that's another month.
Right, I agree.
Joe is right here crying about it. It's a month after month after month. I'm one to get things done, you know.
I mean,
As far as the camera goes,
I also understand what Paul's talking about, because I
understand that
state
part.
contracts.
And we pay $2,000 a year to the League of Minnesota
For the
Cities.
insurance.
And they're going to provide us with a certain amount of legal advice. If they feel as though they can't advise us accordingly, according to what the answers that Paul might be looking for, then they're gonna tell us to seek outside advice, which we have counsel for that too. That's $185 an hour. Beware that when that bill comes, I've got one right here from engineering for something I don't even know what it's for $13,000. But now I got the other side of that. Oh, we're gonna pay for all this stuff. Your fees are gonna go up, beware, okay? I hope you're gonna be real happy with it. It's not just your fault, it's everybody in general, okay? But we can only take so much at a time and get so much done, you know? And there was a proposal one time, let's just tear the roads out of here and go back.
Can we move on, because you're just blabbing. Can we just move on? Please.
Yeah, I like the idea of moving on, but I like the idea, support the idea of moving forward with the roads.
So we need to make a motion to move forward with, from here to patch.
Are you making the motion?
I'm making the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dean.
Okay.
Motion carried. All right. Roads are gonna get fixed with the extension or with the approval that we're gonna add some things to the contract. And that will,
And then by next meeting, Paul, you can investigate this and come back with moving forward what we would have to do.
and I'll provide you with all that information.
I have it actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
see
thank you.
what-
Thank you.
So,
I'm not happy with
That's,
what they propose.
okay.
That's like painting. That's all you're going to painting
I agree, I'm not happy
it.
with
$30,000,
that.
I don't think that's worth.
I think let's back up just a little bit. The $8,000, I think we should pass on that too. And if we want to investigate a more clear way to take care of that road, I think that's something we can kick the can down the road on a little bit further. But what I'm making a motion to is to approve the 16.8 to patch all the holes in the bad spots.
16.5,
16.5.
okay. All right.
And the other 8 was for Shorewood Drive.
That was
the
to basically
scope.
paint the road, like you said.
No, I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Right.
I thought that was, that's out of the contract.
That's out of the contract.
So the price was really went from 24 down to
16.5. Yeah.
Okay, so to move on with the agenda, I have 2 bills that are not on here that came in this evening when I checked the PO box. One is Rasmussen, which was approved before, but that's a cost of $412. But just so everyone's aware, that bill did come through now, we approved using them, so we'll have to pay this. So I just need a motion to approve this specific bill.
And that's for the pond.
Yep, for mowing, yep. And this is for the month of May. So it's gonna be $412 each month that we're gonna be charged.
I make a motion to pay the,
Second.
I need to make a correction to that. That bill could go up or go down. It's according to how many times he's out there.
Yep, okay.
All right. I think you probably got listed how many times.
He does, yep, he's got the dates, and it's $100 each time that he mows.
so we mow 4 times a day.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
And he does weed treatment on there too?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
That's an additional charge, but.
As needed.
As needed.
We need to get a couple trees out of the way.
Yeah, just 3 actually, I think 3 or 4.
That have fallen down.
I've been letting people know about those, just so you guys know. It's a way to get them out of there, I'll let you know.
we have one more bill, Quality Flow Systems. This was for service check of 2 lift stations for a price of $480.
That hasn't changed in 10 years.
So just need a
Very good.
motion to approve it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Motion carried.
I have nothing under old business. We'll move forward with new business. Investment fund, Dean, do we have any updates on that?
No, I haven't gotten a statement this month, so I'm assuming there was no dividends or anything paid out. We should be getting one first part of July, so I should have one for the next meeting.
Perfect. And the next item is website updates. Matt, you sent an email out to the group.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go by memory because I can't access the
I
internet.
have the.
Oh, you have the email?
Do you want to
Oh.
do this over there?
Awesome. You. Somebody came prepared. Matt and Matt. All right. So I got in touch with Joel, who set up our website, or I should say platform. It's not exactly a website, but it's a platform for communication and a payment system, and it is free of cost for associations. I dug into that a little bit and provided that. It's basically a community blog system. So everybody in the community sends us their email. We send them a welcome email with an account creation link. They click the link, they sign up for an account, and then they become a member of the Shorewood Park blog of the platform. And then in that platform, you can make electronic payments for the dues. You can start conversations, aka blogs, about concerns that you have in the community. And you can email each other freely in this ecosystem. And we as the board members can send out updates, can contact people, and whatnot. And also the payment system can be modified for the dues, for late fees. It does the whole kit and caboodle, and it's only 1%. So it'll charge the payee 1% per payment. There is an option to become a member of this platform. That cuts it down to a 0.5%. But what that does is you have to have something like a minimum of 50 homes. So, and it sounds like we have 130. So that's another $75, or pardon my very casual math, of a payment into this system. And if we had 100% electronic payment from everyone in the neighborhood, it may be worth it. But since, maybe 50%, I'm just kind of guessing here, let's say half. half the people in the community pay electronically, I think that we'd end up losing money and it would be more of a cost in the end for us to become a member of this platform. So in the short term, I think it's just best to use it as a free system, open up the channel so that people can now pay online. And 1% of $80 is not a lot to ask, and it's a lot less than a lot of the credit card fees that are out there. So I think I'd like to make a motion to open that up. And then also, what the platform does not provide is a flat out, as everyone knows it, a website, like a .org or .com website that's public that you don't have to be a member of. This platform doesn't have that. And so I did some research into that, and Shorewood Sanitation.org, for the first 2 years, it'd be $8 a month, and then after that, it'd be $21 a month to host that website online. So then, members of our community that don't want to be a part of this blogging community, social media kind of incantation, can just go to the public website, can see what the news is, can watch videos, and that's another thing. You can't really do a lot of media or pie chart displays or anything like that. I mean, you can, but it's very it's in a blog format. And those who are familiar with a blog format, it's line by line. It's a lot of text. It's a lot of weeding through the.
It's not easy.
It's not easy to find information. Whereas if we had a website, I could display graphs and videos and updates and things very uniformly on the computer, and also I can format it so that you can actually view it on your cell phone very easily. So I would also want to make a motion to move ahead and pay that monthly cost to have that public website.
So, I guess I have some questions. Do we have to jump right into the pay portion of it right away? I mean, can we ease into this a little bit and just start off with just like an informational type website? As far as, I like an idea where people can ask questions, but I don't want to turn it into, a Facebook page where people are trashing each other. And, so can we maintain that so it doesn't become that? It's really just an informational thing. And if they have questions that they want us to approach at the meeting, maybe they have a spot, add your questions, and then they can see us answering and responding to them in the meetings and what direction we're going.
And that would be more like an email, the administrator kind of.
Yes,
correct?
so we can.
It wouldn't be seen by everybody, it would be.
Only the registered members of the platform.
If we do the same, shorewoodSanitation.org. The other option though, the first option.
It's actually the opposite. So the
Okay.
free version is this blogosphere that you're referring to,
Yeah.
of like an open system. But there are controls on that where you don't have, it doesn't have to be open, like you said, you just have more of a pushing out of information as opposed to a, Facebook, back and forth.
I think from what I've heard, people are more interested in that, just the information sharing.
Yes.
I think that's been the biggest problem.
Yes.
They don't know that they're supposed to go to the pump house and get the minutes.
And that, unfortunately, is the part that isn't included in the free section, and that's why I'm advocating to pay the fee to host it. It's basically hosting the website. So we're paying GoDaddy to store our website on their servers.
Okay.
And that incurs a monthly cost.
Okay.
And that's the public, non-registered, non-blogging, non-commentary, straightforward information receiving platform.
Okay.
And we don't have that, and we don't have the ability to do that for free, unfortunately.
That's $8 a month.
That's $8 a month for the first 2 years, and then it's $21 a month, beyond 2 years.
Okay, so, and if we wanted to add the billing portion of it, that's another fee.
No, that is actually already in the free part.
Okay.
In this, I'm just going to call it the blog.
Okay.
It's free in the blog, and you have to be a registered member, which is all free. So you join the group, and then you're able to pay your bill online. And the payee pays the 1%.
Is this just for Shorewood community?
Yes, it is us
So-
alone, closed system, only us.
How does that work where it's closed, where it prevents others from, say, someone in Rush City? Hey,
Right,
what's
so we
going on?
control who becomes members. So we send out a letter to our neighbors saying, provide us with your email.
Oh, okay.
And then they send us their email. We send them a welcome email with the link to register themselves into our system. So we have complete control of who's in the system, you know, what they can do in the system, you know, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just concerned with the pay, auto pay or whatever that was on.
If we do the .org option, which is the one where we would be paying each month, it would be open, but people wouldn't have the freedom to comment like they would with the
But they
blog
could
option.
come into the,
They could, yes.
It's basically an electronic bulletin board on the internet.
It's like a
That's
city
all it would
website,
be.
basically,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, it's just a website.
We control the data that's being displayed on there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's no freedom of communication between other people on
Not on,
that page.
not on the Fat Show
If
website,
they,
no.
if they want to make comments, they'll have to come here to the meeting.
That's correct.
So,
And I think that's our best option.
And that's $8 a month.
For the first 2 years,
For the first 2 years.
and then
So
$21 a month.
we do that, 8 times 12 is 96, it costs us $200 to test drive it for 2 years. And if we decide we like it at the end of 2 years, we can upgrade. If we decide we don't like it at the end of 2 years, we're up $200.
Correct. And we can institute the payment system, you know, anybody can sign, it's active now, it's free. Anybody can provide us with their email, and then we send them a welcome email. They become a member of the community, and then they can pay and it's automatic. We just type in our bank account information, and the amount of money is automatically sent into our bank account.
So they have the choice to either do it the new way, or still
Correct.
fall back on the old way
They
until
can
there's
still
something.
write a check every month.
What are charges from the bank itself? Except
I'm sorry, what did you say,
What
sir?
about the charges from the bank itself?
So the payee pays that 1% charge. So the person paying the bill fronts that charge. It's completely free to
Something
us.
special with the bank to assess those payments?
It's more or less just a redirection of the money. So this platform, you know, accepts the payment through a third party that they incur the cost with, that we do not incur the cost with because we're an association. So we have the option to use this platform for free. So then the payee pays the 1%, which is how this platform makes their money in my assessment. And then it's more or less just the routing number, the bank account, and they send us the money, no fees removed, nothing. It's just the $80 is what we.
The First National Bank of Rush City or whoever we're
Correct.
doing business with, they don't have a charge for us.
No, the banks
No.
don't typically charge for it, because it's an electronic funds transfer. It's the processing fee for the third-party vendor is what you're paying for.
Correct.
And that would be 80 cents a
$2
month based on an $80 bill.
And if you don't want to pay that, you write a check and send it in the mail.
Correct.
So in your opinion, which is the better route to go? The .org website where it's controlled simply by us and there's not a payment option?
I recommend both. I
Okay.
recommend twofold
Okay.
because the message isn't going to get out there through the blog system.
Okay.
I mean, it is, but you have to be a member to receive the messages.
Okay.
And some folks don't want to be a part of things like that. You know, I'm not on Facebook. I don't want anything to do with social media personally.
Yeah.
So therefore, when I got an email like that from anyone, I wouldn't be akin to it and I would write a check. But others would be all over that and they really want, you know, the ease of, you know, just logging in, paying, and you're done, you know. So I would do both because then it doesn't restrict the information flow to those only who are members of our district blog system. So I actually recommend both.
I received an email from a constituent that we have and some questions that this person has. It says, is there any data storage limits? And I know nothing about technology. Any data storage limits?
I know that there are plans that have unlimited storage, but as far as what we do, you know, all our videos can be stored on YouTube, which can be locked down to, you know, link only or not viewed by anyone. We can really control things on YouTube, and that's a free platform.
Who's the administrator of the, I'm going to read off the questions that they have.
Sure.
Is there an assignment of an administrator to maintain the user access control? And I'm going to get you these questions.
I guess I would volunteer to be the web, they call it the webmaster. I'd be happy to do that as a
I
function.
think what I'm hearing is there's no data content between the residents.
There would be no data transfer between
And
residents.
how often is the data backed up and what is the retention?
It can be whatever we dictate it to be. There can be no retention, or there can be every 30 days the website's backed up. But again, there'd be no resident information on this website.
Who owns the developer?
I'd be happy to develop a website.
Is there a fee for your services?
I'm a member of this community and I feel obliged to improve this community, and that's why I joined the board, so I would not be charging the community.
I'm gonna get you a copy of these questions, there's several on here, and I know that they're.
I'd be happy to respond to
Okay, and then you can just write them all out and get back to this person.
That'd be just
Should I
fine.
get a copy as well, then, just so I can?
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward here, as I have said in many months gone by, my pending retirement is very close.
Let's back up a second. We have to make a motion to deal with.
So yeah, I guess I make a motion to initiate the blog, which means that we would have to email our send a letter via mail to our community, letting them know about this system, asking them for their email, and asking them for permission to be a part of our community. So that's the first step. And then when we do receive their email, then someone would have to be responsible for entering them into our system. So that's for the blog. That's just for the blog. So that's for the payment system, for the messaging system between parties. That's that piece. So I would first motion to move ahead with that.
Would that information be returned to you?
It can be me, it can be Tina, I can see she and I having a shared responsibility with the blog system.
Yep.
So again, I first the motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Great.
Then I'd also recommend that we move ahead with a public website through GoDaddy.com, which would be ShorewoodSanitation.org. It's $8 for the first 2 years per month. And then following, it's $21 per month. And again, we can just do the first 2 years and revisit this in 2 years and see where we go with that. So I'd first motion for that.
If it's just general information, like such as the minutes and so forth, that is gonna be out there on that blog, as I understand it.
Yes,
We'll be around with putting the minutes on the backside of the bill that we currently all email out to all the constituents.
We could absolutely do it that way. Correct. But to be able to kind of display the information in an all-circumferencing kind of way, like with, data, for our water, video of our pools that I know I've expressed interest in filming the pools and displaying what we do, displaying our live board meetings that I'm actually initiating recording now. We can display those on the homepage of our website so that all of the data is in one place and you don't have to be a member of that community. That's the sticking part, is that you have to be a member of this blog system in order to receive the information. Somebody can't be anonymous and just go to the website and read the information for themselves. So that's the reason why I'm proposing that we do that, is for those folks that don't want to be a part of this.
Well, I myself think that current information, current data, etc., is what the community is asking for and needing, other than coming out once a month on the back of the bill.
But I think also the education of things,
Yeah.
like not putting grass clippings in
Mhm.
the,
Yeah.
some of those different things.
Don't run your sump pump in.
Yes, don't
People
put
don't
oil
know.
on your,
Yeah.
like those
Reminders.
kinds of things, I think is also
And
helpful.
here are options on what you can do to not overflow our system, to not pollute our system,
We can take care of a lot of things with the website that we don't have to go knocking on the door. People can go
Yes.
there.
Right,
And
and
it's-
answer the people's questions.
Right. Some people don't want.
Coming and saying, we're not getting all the information.
and it can be updated immediately.
And it may bring more people to the meetings.
That's the hope. I hope we can engage our community and involve our community, because we are gonna have to solve these problems together. We're not gonna be able to do this,
Agreed.
us alone.
Not in the backyard having a beer.
Correct.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't talk. Well, if you invite me.
Front yard.
I have a motion from Matt, I need a second, please.
Sure.
Okay.
All in favor?
Sure.
Next item on the agenda is speed bumps.
Can we stop there for a minute because of time restraints?
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna move beyond that point, I think, at this point. Because of my pending retirement here, it was suggested that we have another license person take over my obligations
Okay.
in the wastewater control area.
When, did you announce your retirement?
I did.
When was that?
18 months ago.
Okay,
And it's been renewed every 3 months. Can you stay another? Can you stay another? Can you stay another?
okay,
Finally, June 30 is the end of the date, okay? In about 2 weeks.
okay.
All right, and everyone knowing that, moving forward. We have one board operator here that's licensed better than I am. And it happens to be my nephew. I'm not suggesting you use his services, but it was suggested by Bill or by Rick here that because of his association with me and me still being here, being a member of the community and so forth, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still help out. But the point is that he would be the head wastewater manager. If you choose to move forward, then he would be the candidate for it. If not, you can go to other services that are provided throughout the state. And I brought those bids to the board too, over a repeated number of times.
We don't have any current, I guess we never really, as a board, reached out to anybody. I mean, that I know.
No, I have,
Well, we had,
and I have brought bids in.
Yeah, it
there's
wasn't,
been a couple, but
didn't
no real good
Denise,
responses.
didn't Denise bring
Well,
up somebody or
I never
way
seen
back? Yeah,
it. I didn't see anybody step up for it. We didn't reach out to them.
I would say if we only have 2 weeks and if there's someone that can.
Well,
step
it's
in.
not that I'm,
No, but
I'm not dropping the
yeah.
hammer by any means. I'm
But
just
I
saying
mean,
that,
and then, I don't know, that's
you know,
just.
I mean, if you want him to hang on for just a few months, that's fine. If you want him to carry on, if you like what he's able to provide to you, you have his resume there, he's well certified for it. If you want to move forward, elect him, let him move forward, and come July 1, he can take over at that point. But I'll still be there to kind of school and counsel and so forth, and he's been to as many meetings as I have, and the conferences and so forth, and
Have you been to the conference this year?
he has.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you go?
No, I won't go until the end of July.
So,
So now you're not having just one license, you're having 2 licenses
for the same price?
for the same price, right? Well, yeah, for the same price, because I'm gonna drop out of it. I can't collect any more money. That's the best part you would like.
Yeah.
I would be wrong. Why not, you're not ever saying that I'm gone 6 months out of the year? Okay, the point I'm getting at is that.
See, now he's babbling on. He
No,
just-
no, I'm not babbling on.
Here's the
Hear what I'm
deal.
saying.
I didn't hear you say it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the point I'm getting at.
I hope the
anyone-
board does not just go and take a recommendation from Danny and hire someone.
No, I'm not.
This started over a year ago, where we were supposed to get job descriptions so we could go out and get bids, or not bids, but get people to come in.
That's
From
what
what I
I
understand, Danny never got you the job descriptions.
I've got, what I have is bits and pieces of information.
So that's never been put together as far
I
as
think
I
it
know.
needs to get more information than that.
Right. Well, she was gonna, basically what we were looking for was somebody to, put the job description into a more H&R friendly format. How do we go solicit somebody to be our operator if we don't even understand what our operator is doing?
Okay, but you did get the full page of all the descriptions of everything that I do.
Right.
That is basically coming, that's text material.
Right.
Came right out of the manual. This is what the obligations are.
So I guess I'm hearing what Joe's saying. No disrespect to Bill here. Is it you go by Bill or William?
Yeah.
And I read your resume here. It seems like you have everything that it takes, and you've been helping Danny over the years, anyways. I don't want to, discourage that opportunity either. But I think Joe's right.
You can certainly seek other bids.
And I
Know you
think
being in
with what,
business, you want to come up with somebody that wants to come.
with
in.
what Paul is mentioning
That's
too, with
what they said.
transparency, I
Right.
think that it would not go over well with residents if we were to say, we filled the position, we found out on the 14th that he was retiring on the 30th, and we filled it with his nephew. Even, because that's all they're gonna hear. Even if he's qualified, even if he's been doing it in the past, that's not what people are gonna hear. And I think that that's why we need to prove that we've looked at other venues versus just putting someone in the position.
Well, no, we need
I got a couple.
Go ahead.
First of all, you got 2 weeks, and who's gonna go out and do the work that Danny does or Bill will do? Is everybody gonna go out there and take samples and do things at the pond?
Who's got a
Who are
license
you
to
gonna
do
who are you
it?
gonna hire in 2 weeks?
Right.
So I'm suggesting a probationary period maybe for Bill for 6 months, see how it works, require you to be here every board meeting with all the data that you have accumulated for the month or for 6 months, and go with that for a temporary deal. If we're having problems with that in the 6 months, go out and get some proposals or set the, advertise for somebody to do it.
Call it a temporary basis.
I mean, and you can still be, I'm not saying there's anything against Bill keep doing it, but, in my mind,
We need to bridge the gap.
we need to get somebody doing it starting July 1st.
Right.
And taking care of it. And if we do a 6-month deal, let's just go that. And if we have issues, maybe in the fall, put out ask the bid, you could apply again. I'm just coming up with trying to come up with ideas that you can keep the system working through the summer.
I think we need to go out for bids regardless.
Anyway,
We want to be
you're reading my
transparent.
mind. Yep.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
we can't just say after 6 months if there's not an issue.
Well, yeah.
I think we need
He's
to,
he's running it now and there's no issues, so.
Yeah. I think that we still need to, I agree with what you're saying, like, okay, as a temporary, in the interim, this is that we're offering this position, but we still go out for, actively are seeking bids to present at the next meeting so that we can, or potential candidates to fill that position and review it that way.
And include bills.
I think what stopped it in the past was, I have information and bits and pieces of what Denny's put down, what the operators does personally, what the bylaws actually says the operator does, and I think it's more than what the bylaw does. So basically we have to take this information that I had on about 4 different pieces of paper, and I am not the one to put together a job description to put out.
And I would be willing to do that just because of my past job experience of doing that. I'd be happy to compile it.
So
into a
that's
job
probably the number one action item that has to happen before we can roll for bid. But so that's number one. And then number two, in the meantime, I think we have to go with at least 6 months and work with Bill here and figure out, and then we can go out and seek bids. Danny does have a couple other opportunities for people that we can reach out to also.
There's multiple other companies that are out there that will.
There's big companies that just send everybody, you get a different guy every time doing your work, or you get the more personal where you have Bill or.
You're gonna wanna ask the question, what are you gonna do for this amount of money?
Right.
Okay, and the 2 companies that I've already talked to, because I meet them all the time at these conferences, they say, we're gonna take care of the monthly report and do your spot check.
Okay, so
Anything beyond that point is what they call portal.
let me ask you this. Are you willing to sit down with us and help us find somebody new if at least do these interview processes?
If I'm here, not a problem.
Okay.
If it's December, I probably won't be here.
There's always teams.
Yeah.
Well, I first motion to fill our gap with a temporary basis of 6 months for Bill Wood.
I'll second that.
Favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. There'll be some legal documents and so forth that Bill will have to sign for you to continue on with the payroll system and so forth. You know about that.
So is he gonna be an LLC or are we gonna start being a pair?
No, it's not an LLC. It'll be the same thing as an employee, such as what you are with the county or so forth. No different than any one of us up here. We're all employees.
But, so my question about that is when I had brought up about me becoming an LLC, because I'm not getting paid para right now. I have that option with this position, that's what Wendy had done. But as a resident of Shorewood, I'm also like, I don't, to me, it's not beneficial to be getting paid para. It's actually saving the district money if I'm doing this as an LLC myself and using it for tax purposes. Is that something that we want to look at though going forward when we're replacing this position of not paying para to somebody? Because that would be a savings to the district if it was not an employee like Denny is right now. If we hired an outside source, we're not paying those para benefits out to anybody.
There's a certain dollar amount before you have to kick in para.
But that position would reach it though.
That position could reach it. And if it does, then you're obligated to sign in the para.
Yep, which based on the salary, yes, it's over 5,000.
Okay, it's
So,
$5,000. So
yeah.
up to $5,000, there's no para required.
Correct.
Okay.
But my position and your position both exceed that $5,000 a year. So no matter what, the district would be paying para. So do we look at, if as long as we're replacing your position, at saying, okay, well, we're not going to hire it as an actual Shorewood district employee, we're going to hire an LLC and subcontract it out.
Okay, but at this point here, as we stand then, he would be hired on as an employee.
For
For
the
a
6
6-month
months.
probationary
6 month
period, yeah, an
probationary
interim position.
Okay, or up to $5,000.
Yep,
And anything beyond that point, then we'd be obligated as a board to take him in as a fair employee.
yep.
Should he choose not to?
Which he'll meet that within the 6 months.
True.
So we need to consider that,
Well, if it's a 6-month probation, he shouldn't receive any benefits until after that 6 months.
That's correct.
I don't know if that's correct, that's just what I.
I would have to check, I'll have to check with Kara on that, because if it's an interim position, regardless of income over 5,000, if we're doing, because what is the salary, is it 1,600 a month?
Something like that.
Yep, so let's say it's $1,650 a month. He's going to meet that within the 6 months, and we would be obligated then, if Kara requires, to pay. So do we then do this as a 3-month preliminary period, so that we can have our ducks in a row and know for sure what we're doing
You
going
come
forward?
up with the outside vendor,
Yep,
maybe that would be a workable situation, so he does not exceed that amount.
yep,
Okay?
I'm for that, all for saving money.
okay.
Uh,
So can I make a motion to change that to 3 months versus 6 months?
I second.
Okay,
And it really comes down to his decision, because he may not want to do anything. If he's an employee, maybe that's okay, that's fruitful to keep moving forward. If he's not an employee, maybe he's not interested in obtaining his own insurance and so forth, such as what you're raising in the area you're skirting. It has to be proven that you are an LLC, it has to be proven that you're an independent contractor.
yep.
And those guidelines are skirted very finely.
So-
So what I did is I went to the attorney,
Yep.
and at no cost, and I got the ruling on it. They strongly recommend that if you're going to remain an LLC, you know what the rules are? You
No,
want to-
I'm just saying,
What
yeah.
They're telling us as a board to protect the constituents of Shorewood Park is that you need to come together with a bond, insurance, and so forth before you can go off as an independent contractor.
Correct.
Agreed. But I agree with what you're saying too. It would be a savings if we're not paying care.
Correct.
I understand that portion too. That's like 6 or 7% that you would save per month. So I guess that's a decision you have to make. And then we have to accept it as a board, whether I'm here or not, but this board should be very protective of the constituents because it comes down to transparency. All of a sudden, we got this lady that has full access to all our financial data, and she hasn't produced anything to protect us. I'm not saying you do anything wrong, but there's always that possibility. So we have to protect everyone else sitting on there.
But how is that not gonna happen if she's an employee? I mean, she could whittle the books.
We're protected through the League of Minnesota Cities bill.
Yes, I know.
You know about that, okay? So we shouldn't have to go any further with that, then we're protected, okay? So knowing that, we can move on. But that's the point I wanted to make out, and I do have a written ruling from the attorney.
Okay, the question that was brought up is, would you be authorized to sign the checks as an LLC?
Yes. As long as the bank is authorizing it through the board minutes.
Okay, so
No, that brought up the other issue is that the League of Cities said you need 2 signatures. And I said, well, sometimes the bank will look at it and say, well, geez, we missed a signature. That's their obligation. They have to do that. So him being secretary treasurer, you being the lady that writes the check, you still have to get his signature because that's transparency again.
Yep. Which
I'm
we're
not
fine
trying to
with
make it
that.
tough on anybody. I just want to be able to move forward or move away and say everything is left fine. Everybody's protected. I don't care who it is that's out there. We know your money is duly guarded.
Yep. No, and I think that the only thing that I brought up the last time that can be an issue is if something needs to be paid right away, we have to go to the bill to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
okay, so we're 24/7 available.
yep. So. Okay,
So that answers the independent contractor, and then it comes back to a question to Bill. If you choose to move forward, do you want to hang on for 3 months, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for us, both sides.
3 months?
Get her a feel for what's going on.
That'll give this board 3 months. Somebody's gonna have to be selected to seek other, I think you said because of your HR experiences, other people that will come in and bid it and,
But put a job description.
You gotta put a job description.
Yeah.
get it out to the various people that do this kind of work.
And advertise and whatever. needs to be done for.
I think she should write the job description, but she's not a board member, she's the secretary clerk. Somebody else should be seeking.
I can provide a job description, correct?
Okay, when do you think you might be able to do it, not trying to?
No, as soon as Rich and I can talk tonight afterwards, and
Come together with a job description, and maybe Paul can,
I can email it out to the group
okay.
once we get it done, so people can look at it, so. All right, so next item on the agenda, speed bumps.
in Shorewood.
Thank you,
Drive.
Bill.
Yes, so I've been approached by several of my neighbors about the excessive speeding in our neighborhood. And I just wanted to get it on the agenda. I don't know if that the speed bump issue has been discussed, or speed traps, or having police come through the neighborhood, or sit waiting for speeders in our neighborhood. I just don't know what the culture has been, so I guess I'm requesting that information. But I know a solution. If there are private roads, then we should in my mind have the authority to put in very minor speed bumps in order to slow our traffic down. I have a 2-year-old son, and I see kids playing in the park all the time, and the area that they play is very thin, and the ability of cars coming through there at the speeds that they do can cause some serious harm to people, walking their dogs. And I just would like to hear what the board would like to maybe possibly do.
I guess I have one comment, and that would be Russell Township, because they do the plowing. And I don't know that they would want to have speed bumps.
Okay, we addressed this issue many years ago.
Okay.
Okay, and because we use a private contractor, they will not do any plowing for us. Even though they're required to, no speed bump. The people fought it left and right, they said tear those damn things out, we're not gonna get any, no plowing. People didn't like it. How are you gonna judge the speed? I don't know that answer. But I think that's something maybe could be addressed. I'm not sure how to go about it yet, but I think it's something that, not to kick the can down the road, but to address it strongly now. I'm all in favor.
Yeah.
We do have some young people that are racing through the community.
Well,
It's very possible.
I can tell you who the cars are. I don't know if they're young or old, but I can tell you which make and model they are.
The next issue you brought up about police protection.
Yeah.
I went to Mike Robinson, he's no longer with us unfortunately, but I said, we're not getting police protection out here. We're not getting any fire protection out here. And he says, why? And I said, they told us it's private roads. I talked to the sheriff's department.
Okay.
Went straight to Sasago County. Well, you guys are private roads, we can't come in there. That's BS. He says, I'll get down to the bottom of that. Since that time, we've seen the sheriff's patrol through. We need to be more active and contact them again, say, we'd like to have some things coming through. Even though we're private roads, we don't have a gate out there, you can come through anytime you want. We've had many different people say, I just saw the cops go by. You know?
Okay.
They're not here to arrest anybody, they're here to give us protection. We pay our taxes for that.
Exactly.
So
Well,
I
I
think
guess
it's
maybe
important.
this could be a point of putting it on the website. If you have a problem with the speed in our neighborhood, then you should contact the Chicago County Sheriff. And the more people that call, the more attention will be paid to our Shorewood Park community, and hopefully the people that are offending will take notice
And
of the
then,
action.
talk to your neighbors too, if you know the people, I mean, they make it slow it down a little bit,
Yeah, we can do that too. That's
I don't have any little kids here, but I tell you what, I do see some things that are out here.
Yeah.
Even some signs.
For your windows and stuff.
We get that too.
Well, and I can relate, because living right on Shorewood Drive, that main drive coming through, I mean, when you get to a certain point, you're supposed to be 15.
yeah.
Or maybe, they have dyslexia or something, see it differently, I don't know. But
Do we need more signage?
that's why I would say, I would be all in favor of a speed bump, wouldn't bother me.
Yeah,
On the main drive.
Yeah, we would.
Oh, the Paul, see, I didn't get you, I heard something, but.
Yeah, that's the thing that.
Now, they may have a different vendor that they use, because I think they switched vendors from the last 2 years ago.
Okay.
But the one guy, I think it was Johnson Excavating, that came through. He's, I won't plow it anymore unless you take the speed bumps off.
I don't-
So you had them?
Well, we have speed bumps back,
Oh,
I don't know how long you lived here, Sue, but, back in the
Evidently not
association,
long.
we had speed bumps, multiple,
Hmm.
and, people hit it.
I don't think we wanna rock the deal in the snow
No.
plowing either,
So
because
we've got a pretty good deal.
we got a pretty good
Yeah.
deal, it's free, so.
I think if we utilize the website and also just directly to neighbors, if we know, like recognizing a car.
Put some fake cameras on.
That's what I was gonna say.
Throw some stop strips.
Yeah, really.
It'd be nice if we had one of those, like on, where it tells you what speed you're
Yeah.
going and like flashes at you.
Yes.
Whoa, buddy.
That might be just a matter of calling the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Borrow.
Well, we
Yeah.
should go on the side where if somebody's going too fast, it calls.
It'll almost have to be a campaign to push it
Yeah.
and get the information out there again. I think that's where the website's gonna have to be.
Absolutely.
If we can play it that way. In the meantime, I think we talk to our neighbors, and I think we recognize some of the, I've had several conversations with some of the young kids we've been through when they do, and their attention span is about this big. So we have to keep reminding them over and over and over again what's going on and please slow down. So, we just have to work harder on that too, and do the best we can.
The next item on the agenda, as long as you're good with moving forward now, are you satisfied
Yeah.
with that?
No, that sounds great. That
Okay.
sounds great. I think community action is definitely the best way to go about that. Shorewood Park maintenance. This has kind of come up, enforcement and responsibility. When I moved in to the neighborhood, I was never notified that I was to cut the lawn of the park area. And I don't have a problem with it, and I do it as a member of the community because I love the park, I love the serenity, I like it, for the children of the neighborhood to play in because it's a safe area for them to be in, for the fire pit. There's several utilities of the park area, so I do it. But I guess I'm just, I feel like the neighbors that are adjacent to the park that quote unquote have a responsibility to cut their section of the park, end quote, are taking on a cost to that. And I've done numbers, and personally, when I cut the lawn of my section, I incur a cost of time, labor, and maintenance to my lawnmower of about $70 a time I mow the lawn. And over a season, that's roughly between $1,800 and $2,000 that I, choose to, incur by taking care of the park and doing my part. And I guess,
Matt, stop there for a second.
yes, sir.
Do you know where your property lines go?
Yes.
Have you got it surveyed?
Have I got my property surveyed? No.
To my knowledge, your property line goes into that park. That is your land.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Those lots back up to each other this way. There's a certain strip that's down the middle. And Dennis Ransom developed it that way because of a walkway going through there. Okay? But we have to investigate that a little bit further.
Well, I think I'm gonna beg to differ just a little bit. If you go on the tax website, it might bleed in over into the park a little ways.
That's why we're not getting tax work.
I mean, it only bleeds in.
There's a circle in there that's not.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, like, you wanna take a quick look at the lower circle here. Some of the lots do go beyond the road, okay?
Lower circle.
But the bulk of all the parks belong to Shorewood Park Sanitary District, and that's how it's listed in the tax.
Okay, but we're not,
We are paying taxes on all our properties.
not the common grounds.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I think,
I've had that conversation with Wendy.
showed
Yeah.
2 tax forms one time,
So
or statements.
here's a perfect example, and this is your lot right here. And this is off just a little
Well, I
bit.
guess what I was driving towards is that if your property line goes to the other side,
This is what you're
then that's your land anyway to cut.
And I would agree with that statement. However, when I look at the plot lines on, say, Google Earth or anywhere that I have had a resource to do so, my property lines end at
the road gets
the road.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's
That
kind
was
of,
this issue?
And
That's
where
what
it
I,
goes, because
so
my
that's the
land-
tax side.
You just got a
Personally.
survey.
I'm gonna,
My lot, okay, is your.
I'm sending him a bill.
That's okay.
Mowing this
I can
guy.
see where
I
this
just
is
have
going.
this, so I know
Yeah.
who to bill for what, like which.
Oh.
So there's right here,
See where it goes.
there's your parcel ID right there.
that's Jules.
Oh, okay, so this is yours.
That's right.
But, so this is
My
your
lot, I thought
only
was this
one.
big, now it's this
Now,
big,
these
because
are
they were
different
like
parcels here. We'd have to see who those match up to.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
And this is the area in question right here.
Okay, yep.
So that,
Oh, yes,
so
yes.
that's the issue that we're coming, you know, the fire pit's right there, and the swing set's right
So
there.
69700. But yeah. Is that what you have similar to? This is what I was looking at.
Yeah, very, very similar.
Yep.
Yep, I mean, this is the interactive map on the Shorewood website.
Yep.
And of course, it's not right on because it's not the exact survey lines.
Yep.
But they just kind of place it over Google Maps. So you may bleed in a little bit into the park, but it's not a great piece of the park. And I think most properties are that same. So the people that are taking care of the lots, you have to do it on good faith.
Yeah, and you know, there's been an inquiry that was brought to the board of hosting a for-profit class session, you know, twice a week in the park, and I kind of view that as you know, somebody running a business on the community's collective efforts of maintaining the park at their cost, and I kind of view that as unfair. And so so the question I have is how do we move forward, you know, keeping, you know, I love the park. I don't want to lose the park. I don't want to, you know, I don't want anything to change about the park. And so I guess in that effort, how do we move ahead and make this clear and make this, you know, the requirements clear and, you know, new residents that move in, make it clear to them, and, you know, how do we move forward with that, I guess?
Go ahead.
Well, I think Sue had a welcome page that when we moved in, she gave that to us and it said, you know, you need to mow the park, your section of the park. That's where we found it at.
Okay, and that's fair, but my question is
Not everybody has a
should
section
be
of the park.
expected for people that purchase property on the other side of the road to then be responsible for mowing and maintaining the land that they don't own, I guess is the sticking point. You know, I was kind of to have a neighbor come over to me and say, hey, you gotta go mow that grass, and I'm like, what? You know, so.
Knee high.
Yeah, it literally was, but I had no idea. I actually felt guilty about it. You know, it's like, oh, geez, this is my responsibility. Well, and I guess in the end result is, I'm not really responsible for it. And I guess that's the point. In the interest of maintaining the park and keeping the park the way that it is, can there be some type of volunteer system where folks that maintain the park are compensated by, like, say, a discount on their park fees, or you know, at the very least, have a system in place where it is the community's park. There is no for-profit organization going to be conducting any business on the park. It's for X, Y, Z, A, B, and C, and those reasons only. I'm just kind of looking to nail that down because it's just so out in the open and so, you know, up to interpretation. I guess is what I'm reading at.
I think the way that we almost have to approach that is try to put together a park committee that they can come up and put some rules together. You know, again, here's our web page again.
Yeah.
How can we all take care of these parks and not
Or
just
would
have
it be cheaper to hire the guy to mow it
Or-
once a week?
that
Yeah, well, the
seven-
other piece of this is that the lake folks that aren't by the park, you know, they bring all their refuse up to the fire pit to be burned.
Yeah.
All their grass clippings that aren't allowed there, you know, I see folks coming up off of Shorewood Drive, coming up to the park, dumping all their stuff in their trucks and their all-terrain vehicles.
Because there's not really any written rules.
Because there's no rules,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm incurring a cost to maintain that fire pit for those folks, whereas they just bring their refuse and break rules, and so there's got to be some type of way to move forward that satisfies everyone, to be able to keep the fire pit, to be able to keep the children's play area, to be able to keep it a public, serene environment that everyone wants to maintain, that everybody would like to be a part of.
Again, I see this, three things that we need to take care of. The parks. In my mind, there's 1, 2, 3, and the 2-acre lots would meet 4 parcels of property that we have to come with or have some sort of rules. And they don't have to be, you know, hard written, you know, I'm gonna hit you over the head with, but just so an understanding of how we take care of it. Because again, not everybody understands that. Just like you said, I didn't know that I was supposed to mow this, so I guess I'm mowing it just so I'm sharing the burden by taking care of my parcel. And the next guy is in the lawn gets mowed. Otherwise, we have to pay Rasmussen to come in and do that. And
Right.
wall our public
And,
area.
and as people are gonna figure out, I'm for saving the almighty dollar and not, passing the cost to someone else. But I'm doing my part, and I see folks that are not doing their part.
And it's always gonna be that way.
And that may be the burden that our neighbors have to bear.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna think it's okay for someone to come in and hold a class on the park. I'm not gonna be in favor of that.
Well, we've always kind of, as a
I've
board,
already gotten an opinion, sorry to interrupt, but I've already gotten an opinion in regard to that, and she went other directions.
Okay. All right.
She's well aware, so as far
And
as.
bless her for trying to do what she wanted to do.
that's just an example, and that's why he's bringing it up.
Yeah,
Somebody wanted to have a wedding there before.
Yeah, it won't be the last, I'm sure it would come up again, and bless her for wanting to make $1 and do what she loves to do, and
Get the community
get
together.
the community together, those are all great things. It's just how it's done is kind of the sticking point of where I'm at.
Right. Buck, did you have something?
Oh, no, you pretty well covered it. To me, if I maintain my part of the park, if I want to have worship pit out there, I'll have worship pit out
And
there.
I know these gentlemen came to discuss the fire pit as well, so I think we should discuss the fire pit because they made the trip out here. Myself and Jeff and Buck share property lines together. We're the 3 houses on the very end, not the large farm property. That's Joel, but myself, Jeff, and Buck, and we're constantly monitoring fire. If it's burning, we're always monitoring it. We're always maintaining the fire pit in its general sense. We would like to be able to keep it, but however, I know Jeff personally, they chose to not have central air in parts of their homes, so they have their windows open and they receive smoke.
Well, no, it's May, it's 70, it's Minnesota, you want to have your windows open.
Right.
Right. And here, I'm
I
judging.
mean, simply about it. I mean, simply
I'm
about
asking between Matt and Buck. This is our 6th summer up here. When we first moved up, it was understood you had to mow the park, which is cool. I actually like mowing the park. But the fire pit was a heck of a lot smaller. It was,
It's gotten out of control.
It's gotten out of control, and I looked directly at it, and it's
An eyesore.
it's bad, and Buck and his son, they do a great job, trying to burn it down best as they can, but it's gotten out of hand.
It needs to be cleaned up.
And the amount of people that I see coming up,
I see them come off one. Oh,
well, last week I was out there mowing, I was picking up, after the storm, picking up the big sticks to throw on the pile. And, guys coming up with dropping grass, and like, dude, you can't do
yeah. I
that.
see local.
Why not?
contractors
There's a sign
plant
right
the
there.
grass there.
Yeah, there's a,
But again, I don't know how much it would cost each year to maybe just clean up the pile.
I have a bid here for that exact same, just what you addressed.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy wants $500 to scrape everything that's there out. He's gonna haul it away and take it to the proper recycling place. Not interested, he's gotta take it elsewhere to get burn stuff now. He says $500 to haul it out of here, and it'll be gone in a week.
But then we can't.
Are we gonna do this every year? And why are we?
Personally, I'd be willing to, everybody has to agree, yeah.
Matt came up with an idea, if he knows somebody that has a backhoe or has a bucket and throw it in trailers and haul it out of here, that's fine. I think the heavy contributors should probably help out in that effort, But for the sanitary district, we're governed here to cover roads and the sewer pipe. That's all. And we're gonna take $500 out and monitor that garbage pit. That's what it is, because it's going from this size to this size to this size to this size. And it's not gonna stop.
I know.
And that pile's not gonna go down to the ground.
I know how big that pile is.
Okay.
So
I've been here for 40 years, I know, okay?
once it's cleaned up, would that be it?
Well, I would like to
think
see
that's
that, but
what should
I think
happen.
we're getting some kickback on that, and
Well,
like Matt said, well, maybe we take and downsize it and get it to a 6-foot
Yeah.
circle ring.
I mean, make a
I would like not to see that, I would like to, it's part of our maintenance.
Take it away.
Well, no, I say clean it up every 2 years or something.
Okay, but who's gonna pay for it now?
Well, everybody uses it.
When you say everybody, I don't know who that is.
Well, everybody in the circle.
Okay.
And it's not just the circle people.
Well,
it's-
but it's
It's people.
If you're getting people off Congress one, that's a no. I've never seen that, but I can't say it doesn't happen.
That would.
Well, was that intentional use just for the circle? Yeah, was
We
it?
had one.
I've been here 18 years.
When I got there, he monitored that very closely.
Yeah,
And he cleaned it up every year and he did it himself.
but I
He's no
mean, is
longer
that a
with us.
designated
Burning pit?
community burning pit
No,
or just
No,
certain
it's not at
people?
all. It was never intended to be.
Yeah, so see, it's like if people,
Back in
like
the
say
day,
down by the
buildings
lake,
were-
had a tree come down, and
Yeah.
that's a bird, do they just think that's what to do with it, or what?
Well, I
That is
think
the current culture.
Huh?
That is the current culture. When
Yeah,
a tree goes
but I
down in
mean,
your yard,
has
then
it
you
never
break
been
it.
said they can't?
No,
Oh,
and that's kind of why I'm bringing this up and why we're here to discuss this is because there has to be a way forward and it can't just keep getting larger and larger and larger. Because right now, the pile if you drive by, the pile that's there now is more than 90% burnt. It's all just rubble and ash and waste. So it has to be cleaned on a regular basis.
I make a motion to create a park committee, but if you're gonna, have everybody clean it up, everybody's gonna have, say like all of Shorewood community, okay, you're gonna charge them $10 once a year to clean it up. Well, then you're gonna have everybody saying, like it is now, so it's gotta be either
Kind of all around,
section,
right?
yeah, cause how are you gonna control it?
Exactly. That's the problem. Right, exactly.
And if you throw it on your trailer, it's nothing to bring it into Rush City, where they've got the setup for it and just dump it there.
But not everybody has.
Yeah. and-
That's, I think, their concern is.
And I thought they told us that we can't bring stuff.
I
to
thought
us.
that too,
Yeah.
into,
You have to be,
Rush.
you have to be a resident of.
Yeah.
city limits.
No, I fought
City.
that. I fought that with the
Have
city of
you?
Rose City. Yes, I
Okay.
did. I already went down that road, okay?
So
Because I said, wait a minute, my driver's license says Rush City.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a point. But you live out in Shorewood, you guys got a lot of money. I said, don't go there. That's exactly what the city
Are you
council
serious?
told me at that
Oh,
time.
boy,
And I says, I have just as much right going out there as you do, and you do, and you do.
Okay, I didn't.
And they
know
all
that.
agree.
Yeah.
Okay? So the point I'm getting at is that you have just as much right going out there. Nobody's gonna contest it. If they do, find out who it is and take it back to the Rush City Council, because I fought it.
It's been a few years, but I was told no, I brought my grass down. No, you could-
Was it the maintenance manager at that
I
time?
don't recall.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
my fault. I
I
didn't.
can't remember his name right now, but he and I went at odds, and I said, I'll be at the next meeting. And at that time, I forget who the mayor was at that time, I think it was Jim Earp.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not us. If you've got the rest of the,
I guess at this point, I feel like we should make it
but you
official.
can't bring burning stuff out there anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Burning stuff out there because the stuff's already burned. If it wasn't burned, you can bring it there. This is what the contractor told me today. When I got the bid from him.
Oh, I got you, yeah.
The stuff's burnt, now it has to go to DKB or go out to Cambridge. These are because it's burnt.
Well,
There may be some rule change to that, I don't know, but that's what he told me today.
Okay, so moving forward, we want to move this
So
forward.
at this point, I think I'm leaning more of the side of making this, the official Shorewood community, area to bring your refuse after storms. I mean, a lot of people don't have anywhere to bring it. It doesn't affect me because I have woods. I live on woods. I can put all my stuff in the woods, and I don't need the fire pit.
Well, why don't we just put all the stuff in the back of your house?
Well, yeah, why not, right?
Hey, we'll solve the problem. We solved the problem.
why don't we move the burn pit and utilize the 2 acres that are by the cornfield?
That's also an option.
Yes.
It still needs to be maintained.
It would still need to be maintained.
Well,
You're just moving the problem from one spot to another spot. I think the
But
reason that.
wise, can we watch it though? That would be the other
Yeah.
concern is.
I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking from the guy that looks at it, I don't wanna look at it
Here's
as
one.
my boss and everything out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, if I gotta maintain the grass and everything out there and the thousands of leaves that get knocked off of people's trailers when they're dragging them out.
I think the right thing that I'm hearing right now is move it, get rid of it, and stop
Yeah,
it. Because we can't police it.
But then what do we do with, like, when the storm comes through and
knocks trees down and rent it.
knocks trees down the park?
Just like, well, the park's
There's
money.
insurance for that.
There's what?
There's insurance for that.
Well, it brings up the issue, if the park and all those trees are laying there.
You use the insurance when it started?
In the park? In the park. I didn't use the insurance.
They just went out there and cut it, right? Cleaned it up.
Yeah.
So now you're telling me that all these people did all this cleanup, and they could have had insurance take care of it.
There is insurance for that, but you have to check with your policy holder and
But
find
the
out.
stuff,
exactly
in
what
the
it
park
covers.
though, all the
That's
trees
just-
that went down in the
My
park.
insurance company would not cover that part.
Yeah, that's what
We're talking about like, either,
Yeah.
So we're talking about
I'm
trees.
just-
That's something, okay, we
So-
can stop there for a minute, we can roll it further.
If I'm
Check with the League of Minnesota City, their insurance carrier, Berkeley Risk.
So maybe
Find
it's
out
best
who had
instead of in
insurance
this
for trees that fell down
meeting,
in the park.
that we do like what Sue
If
said,
it's our
to make a
company,
motion
then
to
we'll
Create a
have a park
committee
committee.
and come up with some ideas.
And come up with ideas and present it at the meeting so
So
that,
I don't really want to spend $500. I have a dump trailer that I can get access to, and I'll take it out to the demolition site. But I need somebody to load it. So if somebody can get a bobcat,
And
I'll provide it.
that's how we're gonna solve a lot of
We
these
got
problems.
problem solved right there, he's got the dump box, who's got a bobcat?
We have one.
How much is, do you, does anyone know how much it is to rent a Bobcat?
$200.
About $250 a day
$250 a day.
for 4 hours.
4 hours. How long would it take, sir?
10.
I should only do one load, I would think.
One
I
load?
don't know how big your trip is.
Good size
Okay.
number,
And it might be overweight.
I'm
Because,
not worried about it.
but all I'm saying.
Overweight on our roads.
Yeah.
So I guess, okay, so does anybody in the neighborhood have a Bobcat? Do we know?
Skid steer,
Well, we can work on that later, so, but
Okay.
talk to me, I can get a trailer, so.
All right. Well, then, it's 4 of us. Let's get together. Let's chat and see if we can take care of this inside the community then. But I think the park board's a great idea. If this doesn't work, if we can't figure out a solution, that would be the way forward, I think.
Does,
insurance, yeah.
does
The insurance company
everyone
clean up the trees.
bills mailed?
I'll still mow.
Not
If I
everyone,
can't-
some people
If I
don't.
can't clean up the trees,
Yep.
then I'll just mow around the trees.
Well, that's the, I mean, it's a,
That's what's gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. So I think we need to keep moving. I like the idea of a park committee.
Yeah.
And, you know, they come to us with rules and they can maintain, really, it's gonna be those people up there more than,
Right.
you know, we have our little park that we take care of. down
but
in that
even our
circle.
little park isn't being taken care
I don't know,
of.
I mean, I look at it every day thinking I'm gonna go out there and take care of it.
I know, but that's, I think why this park committee
Watch
would be
out,
a
there's
great
a
thing.
killer nest out there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
it.
There's
Yeah.
what?
A killer nest.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
4 eggs, yeah.
But I think it's trying to create a park committee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Sue made that motion. Does someone want to second that idea?
Well, I don't know if it even needs to be.
Yeah, I think, again, well, I second that motion to try to form a park committee.
Yeah. See where it goes.
See where it goes.
Okay.
So maybe between the 4 of you, you can be the park committee for right now? Is that what you're
Park
saying?
board
I'll
members,
be in it.
you don't
I'll
want
be
me in
in
that
it.
meeting.
You're gonna be the.
When I see guys coming out from off of one with their trailers full of grass, I think we could do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
I
think
see it all the time.
you can get 3-4 of us over there in town and we'll on down the line.
So,
Well, and like with that website, I think just re-educating everybody.
Again, the website's the way to go.
I just,
And maybe a little more signage.
Yep. So I'm
Yes.
sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Jeff
Jeff.
Kohler.
Thank you.
My name's Austin.
Oh, it is. I put Buck. Sorry.
That's all right. You put that to me.
Dennis,
I call it
you
worse.
got a sign there that's done the signs in the community, or is
Yeah.
that, you do?
He's right up on Pine City,
Oh, the guy in Pine City.
right on the right hand side as you're heading north.
Because that might be beneficial to invest
Oh,
in
Just
some
be Barb,
signage.
and then, she's not doing
Let's
it.
do
That's
4
that's
signs.
me.
North, south, east, west of the fire pit. So there's no mistakes.
No grass clippings, period.
No grass clippings. No, you know, tree trunks. Those are the 2 things.
Well, how about leaves?
I don't even know.
Well, that's.
They smoke, they burn, but that's where the fine line is when people are cleaning, they get grass and they get the leaves in there.
Yeah.
So I think anything that's recyclable should go to Rush City and you save it just burn the wood.
I've got fire pits in my backyard, I never on my street. I don't care, it's just, the part that upsets me is I see it coming, it's not just us people that live there using it. It comes from who knows where.
Well, somebody said they seen this place and it says dumping grass, so it's easy for them, so that's what it is. Just like,
I guess the next move will be video camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, prosecute.
Not
Prosecute 3 or 4 of them, for illegal dumping on the property, especially if we
Put
have
the
a
sign
sign
here
there.
and the camera.
What if, yeah, what if we put a sign on the entrance with the, the private road sign right under there, no dumping?
No dumping.
Yep.
No.
I mean, I know, I understand, but at least then it's posted.
They can't
If
say
they break the rule, then they'll be prosecuted knowing that they broke the rule.
Yeah.
This is good for the park.
Okay,
Okay,
So
okay.
on.
We'll take care of the county.
Okay, all right.
That'll take care of it.
League of Minnesota Cities, Denny, you were going to revisit that item.
I did, and on December, what was the date? December 7th, they sent us a check for $792 and change, I think it is.
Okay.
I got a copy of the canceled check and who endorsed it
Okay,
from the League of Minnesota Cities, and that was the question that was being asked, what happened to our dividend check?
yep,
That's the dividend check.
So we did receive
that
it.
That is all.
and, all right. How much was the amount again?
The amount is, look at the fine print here. $727
And some change.
and change, yeah.
Okay,
I can't read it, it's so.
and it was endorsed,
It was endorsed by Shorewood Park Sanitary District.
so Wendy must have done it, okay, all right. Thank you. All right, funding expansion updates, do you have any updates for us on the funding
No,
expansion?
the only thing we've got going on now is what we currently have in the works, and I just filled out a new application to Kathy Barrett. That's what this payment here is for, from the engineering firm, for $1,357 to fill out the application. What it is a redo of the same application. So I called them, and I think I asked you to.
Yep, and they said that they talked to you when I called them, they said that they'd
Yeah.
already talked to you.
So we're spending $1,300.
I says to Tim, our engineering firm, I said, so we're not gonna pay this. He says, no, table it. He said, you don't have to pay it now, we'll get it later. That was his comment. Okay? He says, but I'm constantly working for you guys all the time. I just never send bills. And all of a sudden we got this, and I said, it looks to me like it's redundant of the same thing we paid 6 months ago to fill out this application. He says, yeah, probably is. And I said, so you just took it from here, put it on here, change the date, and sent me a bill for $1,300. Well, Denny says, I'm working for you 24/7.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm not gonna pay right now. That's the way I left it.
He also said he wasn't gonna charge anymore, too.
Yeah, well, that's, he was instructed very sternly not to charge us that size. All of a sudden, we got this. I said, Tim, I can't do that. We've already agreed.
It's for the
Expansion.
The extension.
permit for the.
You wanted to know where $100,000 went last year? This is where it went. Okay?
All right.
Next picture.
DNR grant updates, Denny, do you have anything there?
DNR?
Yep,
Well, it's all.
we're still in the running and.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
right. And,
So status quo.
yeah, the only one that looks really, really good is, let me get that thing there from engineering. Yeah, intended use one. We filled out the application form, and that looks really good, is from Pete Stopper. He contacted us back, and he said that he's submitting our proposal to the federal government to show why he needs the amount of money that he needs for infrastructure repairs, environmental, and that was the big key, environmental. Even though we're a small, very small entity, and I think we're up to the north of almost $2 million, that didn't have anything, what are we gonna do with the money? So we filled out all the phase one forms, we submitted all the paperwork to them. I haven't heard anything back, but they vote on that bill, I think, in December. I think.
Don't forget the director of change.
So that's where that's gonna stand.
Yeah, quite appreciated.
Road committee update, we discussed that already, so
Right.
we don't need to revisit that. Shed pump house update, I will be working on that, I haven't started on it yet, and now I'm regretting
I
it.
have a question about that, just simply, there's just 2 boxes there. That came from, our previous, people that do work in there. None of that other stuff is material. Take that stuff, if there's a shredder around, why are we paying $500 to throw it in the box?
Hey, Matt, I got something for you. But no, there's all the manuals and stuff up there, what is
Those
all?
manuals are important, we need to keep those.
No,
Those
that's
are all
fine,
pretty.
but
There's a fire pit.
So hold up, you said they $500 last month to do it, now you're saying you don't want to.
Well, I'm just saying, I thought there was a whole lot more. I was in there just the other day. I said, Joe, we got your boxes. That's it.
there was more than that in there when I was in there.
All those manuals
But there's
are
boxes on the,
on the floor.
On the floor, on the right side, the back,
Right.
and the side.
We're not required as a district to keep anything more than 3 years. Take everything else and shred it.
But if there's payroll information in there, then we have to keep
What
it for
happened
7
to-
years.
You know, what happened to data log and all that kind of stuff? And payroll information, what would it be that we're really looking for, payroll information?
Well, that's, somebody's gotta take the time to still go through that
Yeah.
before we throw it away. Now, when we approve the $500, I don't, is it gonna take $500? I don't know. I trust Tina to say, I've only spent 2 hours in here and everything's fine. But we just do it because we gotta
Yeah.
deal with shredding. Then we do have to provide some sort of shelves for the future. So it does need to be cleaned up, I think, just a little bit.
I think the biggest thing is just to have no cardboard boxes in there and have them up off the floor. I guess that's my biggest concern right
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna get totes and stuff.
Yep, so I'll be working on that.
Tim said that he'd be happy to keep a hand with that too.
Okay, that'd be nice. Shorewood land update, Denny, about the 2 acres of land. We discussed that collectively owned by the district, how the rent money is collected and returned to the residents of Shorewood. You were gonna check into that.
And I talked to the guy that is gonna be farming it, he's not farming it, it's what they call land bank. You heard of that? I've never heard of
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not farming it, he says, I probably won't for the next several years.
So it's just gonna sit idle.
He just sits there, okay?
Where's this 2 acres at?
Great one.
Along the tree line. So everyone owns part of that collectively.
Oh, I can camp out here?
If you want to.
We can have fire pit.
I was just gonna say, I'll start a fire pit.
There was a lot of talk what we're gonna use it for, and then the idea came up, who's gonna maintain it if we use it for the various ideas, such as storage and put a fence around it and hard surface or asphalt or something.
It's, again, it's
That went
something,
away, and then the idea came around, let's sell it, so we were offered $60,000 per acre.
Well,
Had a check in our hand for it, and then the board decided, no, we're not gonna do that,
and it's 2 acres.
and it's 2 acres.
So there's no rent being paid on that, is
That's
what you're
correct.
saying.
not this year, not next year.
What is it?
There has been.
I was just talking about the land.
Again, that's a piece of property that the park committee could address and bring ideas to us.
Well, make a driveway in there.
Put class 5 in there, would be a great place to store, yeah, there's all kinds of ideas.
I'm talking about putting trash dumpsters out there.
That was a discussion also, but how you can prevent the people from County Road 1, and
Yeah.
just
Only people that,
bringing water heaters and
only
bringing
people that,
furnaces.
only people that live there have
Garbage.
a key for the block for the dumpster.
Yeah, but who's gonna carry your garbage down there and open that gate, and who's gonna plow it? And, we already addressed that. If there's a better way of doing it, I'm all for it.
I'm just
Because
saying,
I think in the community, we went to 4 different haulers and said, we want a bid from each one of you. We want one hauler to come in here. And pretty soon the constituents came back and said, no, because I can get it for $22 a month over here, I get it for $25 a month over here.
Totally
So we
looks
got to throw our hands at that. And I said, okay, we're gonna have a central collection agency or a collection area with a big fence around it. And everybody bring their garbage there and throw it all in the dumpster.
No thanks.
2/3 of that stuff's not gonna hit the dumpster, it's gonna be alongside of it, now you're gonna have rats, and you're gonna have beverage, and I don't know what. So that was all tossed out, because who's gonna control it, who's gonna clean it? It all comes down to the negative aspect, as well as the positive.
repaving our streets every year, because we got 60,000 pound trucks coming.
Exactly.
Thank you, I would like to address that, and I think you've got something to say about that. I see cement trucks going by there all the time, I stopped them out in front of Road 1, and I said, you want to
People have.
lower your wheels down, he says, I can't, because I can't go around corners. I said, so what are you gonna do? He says, well, he says, I can't. I said, are you full? He says, yeah, I got a hell of a load on it right now. I said, don't go down that street. And he kept right on driving. You know, I mean, how are you gonna stop progress? We went round and around. So then we came up with this idea of a permit and said, okay, you homeowner A, are you building a new home? We respect that. That's great. You got a nice deal going here. Give us $1,000 refundable. And if we notice any problems with the road, we're gonna keep that $1,000 and fix the road. And that worked out for quite a while, as long as I was collecting the check. It never went anything past that, although I think you got one time, did you?
There's a couple people.
Is there a couple down in that area?
We've paid, and I know TJ and Nisha, we have one from TJ and Nisha as well.
And, you know, and that all worked out fine. It put everybody on notice that, yes, we are here, we're watching, you know.
Everybody gets their check back though.
That's right. You know, as long as there's no damage on the road, you know. Like you just said, we put $60,000 in our road, and it's all broke up.
It depends on time to time of year. Springtime is the worst time.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's, again, it's
Okay.
educating.
So,
I came here because of asphalt roads and natural gas, many years ago. There was talk about, let's just tear the roads up and go back to gravel.
okay, so manhole repair update. Any?
That's the one over the pond.
Oh, out of the ponds. I have not talked to the guy. I'm not even sure if they're in business. Every time I call, I get the runaround. I'll have so-and-so return a call, I'll have so-and-so return a call.
Okay, so that we'll have to follow up on next
I'll
month.
follow up on
When you go to your seminar, see if you can reach out to somebody else that does that same thing.
it. Yeah, well, Corey, quality flow. I would talk with him.
Okay.
Culvert, we talked about that already on the Lakeview Drive update, and pond tours is the last item on the list.
We did that. Dean Condell was there, I think Matt was there.
Yeah,
I had your husband there, Dan.
He was very
I
impressed.
think Paul was there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Bill was there. So we had a nice little tour, and we walked around, and there were a lot of questions asked, a lot of answers thrown out, and it's working very nicely. We were just out there tonight, and the water is crystal clear. It's clear on my secondary pond than it is in Rock Lake.
Thanks.
I mean, it's very nice out
Want to stop that with some fingerlings or?
there.
Shit, walleye fingernails.
Okay, that takes care of our agenda. Is there any items to discuss in addition to
Well,
that?
I've got some quotes here to, Rick and I stopped off at a manhole right by our pump station here, and I lifted the cover, and I think he was rather surprised, such as what I was, because I do periodic spot checks with manholes. Back to your house and back to your house and various
We've
locations.
done 3 or 4 of them over the weekend.
And I lifted the cover, and this thing's filled right to the top.
So let's explain this a little bit. It's not your typical manhole. This is actually a holding tank.
It's a vault.
It's a vault so it's not part of our regular flows, right? It's like a backflow type thing.
Yeah, what it is it's got a big control valve in it. So it's got a big steering wheel on it. You shut that valve off to prevent backflow when you're lifting the pumps.
So it's a vault to house that big valve. And it's filled with I&I right up to the top, probably from this heavy rain that we had. And you've got a couple quotes to.
What I did is I got a quote to pump it down and put a small pump station, like a garbage pump out there. Well, now you're gonna maintain that garbage pump, you gotta have electricity to run it. So I came up with the second option was we have that small little ditch that's back there. What's wrong with just going down to the bottom of what that vault is, put like a 2-inch conduit in that and point it out towards that ditch and put it at a gravity flow and just keep the water flowing out of it. We don't have a continuing problem, because I look at that annually. Haven't had this problem until now.
Okay, so this is the first time that you've seen water.
This year,
Okay, can we just go ahead and pump it out
pump it out.
and leave it to see if this problem is gonna be because we don't know if this is gonna happen again. We got a lot of rain in a little bit of time this last spring. So I'm looking, I think that's where that came from myself.
Maybe wait till fall, and if there's a continuing problem, then we put the conduit in.
Right, I think we pump it out and let's see if it refills again. And then I don't think that's kicking the can down the road. I think we're jumping into a conclusion right now. Because the history tells us that this hasn't been filled up before. This is the first time you've seen that.
First time this year. Last year I checked it, it was not there, but we had a dry season last year. We were
Okay.
in drought.
How about prior?
And a couple of years before that, yes, we
Can we
did.
pump that as a resident? Can I just go up there and pump that for you, or?
Yeah, I think
You got a
so.
pump?
Yep.
Red pump of some sort?
Pump, do I need power down there? Do I need?
You know, I've got power right there.
Okay.
You just let me know what day, what time, and I'll open up the panel for you, you can plug in and go
Yeah,
for it.
I think we just pump it out. Let's monitor to see if it fills back up.
Great idea.
So, motion from Rich to do that,
Yeah.
to pump and monitor. Anyone second?
Second.
Thank you.
Now, do you need to have somebody go down there and take a look at that valve now that's been on?
Yeah, once it's pumped out and dried, so to speak,
Yeah.
quality flow, you can put them out.
So-
And, inspect that.
Okay, so then we move forward with the inspection.
Oh, sure, right.
Okay, after we pump it out. All right. Thanks a lot.
See you, neighbors.
Is that a manhole you can crawl in, or are you not allowed to go in that one, or?
You could, well, I personally wouldn't go down there. I don't think Dennis should go down there. I don't think any of
Well,
our,
I'm just asking, is it one you can go down, or?
Yes,
You're not
it's-
supposed to go in that one?
no, you just want to go down. It's a vault with a valve in it. It's got a ladder in it and everything. So, but,
Send it now.
Don't go in.
No.
no.
Well, I wouldn't go in any tank, or,
You don't.
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have the proper monitoring stuff. You have to, that's why we hired that out.
Okay, so next quote,
Okay, so I have that, and the other quote was the $500 for removing the trash. Okay, the burning stuff and all that.
I think we decided we're gonna try to get rid of that stuff ourselves.
You're gonna do it yourself, okay? So both those are tabled, all right?
Right.
Takes care of that. Televising, which is this one, no. There's another one.
You got a bid for $25,000 for our whole system.
Hang on.
That's the whole system.
That was all 15,000 feet.
And that's how many feet of pipe we have?
Yeah, there's 3 miles is what I was told of piping. Okay, and there's what, 5,280 feet in the mile?
So I guess my problem with the televising the whole system is you'll find all the problems, but.
Yeah, why don't we just do a section of it?
You're not gonna be able to fix all the problems.
So why don't we just do a section?
That's what I'm saying, why don't we work on a section, camera, fix it, and then go on to the next?
That's the problem.
I mean, instead, it could be
No
10
problem.
years, and there's gonna be a different problem that you're not gonna camera, right?
The way he,
So is there a map of the sewer system?
Yes.
So we should have will you provide us a map with the spots that you think need to be cambered, please?
Yeah, but keep in mind, the only thing I can provide is what they call as-built drawings.
Yep.
Not so good, okay?
So do you need a plan scanned and copied so we can do this? Or do you have?
You're gonna copy the same thing that I have. We have all that on disk, and that's in the safe deposit box. Okay, the disk is in there, and it shows the entire sewer system. It's all on disk.
Can you bring me that disc? I can bring it to my
It's in the
design.
safe deposit box.
Can I bring it to work and I can have my design look at it? Maybe we can come up with a plan?
That's fine, it's in the safe, it says right on it, sewer design.
Where's the safe deposit box?
I think I have the key for it, I'm assuming. I have a bunch of keys.
I hope so.
Okay.
You don't let me go in there with a drill.
But I think what has to happen is we have to decide how we're gonna approach this. This is how we started the meeting, and then we kind of circled back to it now.
As a general statement, I would be definitely for the piecemeal approach of targeting areas where Mr. Wood thinks that the occurrences are happening and moving our way over.
I agree.
I do have that quote.
No, I think we're
Russ,
still
I got so much stuff that comes in. But as far as, yeah, you can certainly take that disc, sign for it, and see what you can learn about where the piping goes. But we copied the original prints, put it on disc. We're finding out the original print, because the pipe says it's going here, it's really over here. Or we find out that the lateral going to the residence is over here, and we find out it's 6 feet over here.
So it's basically just, it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
And when they camera this, they give us a video of the footage and where these, so why
Yes.
couldn't we update our as-built as we're cameraing?
I think we can.
I think that's a doable deal. We've never had the opportunity to put the camera in, but it sounds like you want to move forward with that, and I think that's great.
Tiff. No.
I do have one quote here from Northland Lane, and I'm passing around, I'm gonna start there in that direction. That's for the camera, and he said he would start the first week in August.
Text them, you respond.
And then I have another bid from a company in Pine City.
I'm in a meeting right now, I should be done in a couple minutes.
And he just threw out a number, and he says, we're at $1.85 a foot, this guy's at $1.25, I think it is.
He walks in.
The one in Pine City is a much bigger company. They went up to 15,000 feet, and he says, but that's a per need basis, so if we want to only do 5,000 feet, that's I'm all in favor of that, those sections. But we may find between here and here, and that's it. You'd like to look at the bid? Okay. And I'm apologetic, I don't have that other quote with me, I know I I looked at it earlier, but I can copy it and I'll email it to you. If you want to look at it, okay?
No,
I got no problem with that.
I had no.
But it's, yeah, it's under $2 a foot.
Yeah, I had no idea you were getting close. And none of this ever gets out to the community, so.
Well, it does, because it's all on the, call it.
It will be on the website.
It'll be on the
It is
website.
coming, very, very.
It was not in last month's minutes that you were getting.
There was only a few weeks ago that we went out with the contractor.
See, and that's the problem here, is a lot of this stuff happens behind every meeting, behind every community, so nobody knows, you three might be doing something, but nobody else in the community knows. So when I come here and I get frustrated at it, that's because I don't know.
Yeah.
And everything I was frustrated with tonight has been answered.
I didn't know you were frustrated.
I can kind of tell.
That's your demeanor, isn't it? Somebody told me you're exactly, that's the way you were acting.
I hope not, but that's where I'm at.
The point I'm getting at is that things are happening every single day. Okay, whether you realize it or not, the wheel is still turning. And I'm doing everything possible.
If it stops,
And if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, you wouldn't be getting the comments that I get from political control. And I'm not saying I'm patting myself on the back or anything like that, but they just don't hand out these different things, and I don't go to all these conferences for the heck of it. I pick up so much information that comes back, and someday that could stop. And then you're gonna be looking at the next operator, whoever that might be, to come back and feel that you would like something, and you're gonna ask the same questions. So keep the demeanor you have, because you're gonna be very forced to do things, okay? That's important. I'll email that thing to you if you want a copy of it. I'm very disappointed I can't get that done. I brought it the other bit, but I showed Dean, he looked at it, and the one guy, well, the guy that you and I met said that he called me tonight, he says, I can come out and start the first week in August. That's only months away. I question, I mean, as much as he really wants to do it, remember he said his camera was down?
Yeah.
He looked at that pipe and he says it's 6 inch. I don't know if my camera's gonna go in a 6 inch pipe. It's a crawler. And he says, I've got 900 feet of cable. He said, we can put it in there, but I just want to make sure I get it back out. And the other guy in Pine City, he says, oh, we got no problem with that. We do it all the time. And he said, I put the camera in there. He says, it'll run from here until wherever, you know. And I said, well, I like that guy better, but he charges a few dollars, not a few dollars, a few cents more. So where do we go with it? Do I call the guy? And he said he'd start next week. The guy in Pine City. The guy in Chisholm said that he'd start first week in August. That's the one that you and I met.
Yeah.
And that's the quote I just showed you. And the other guy was like $1.85.
Let's stay in contact about that when we,
What?
let's stay in contact about that the next couple of weeks here and try to nail that down.
You'll probably call me tomorrow once I know we should move forward or should we not, you know?
All right.
So I need to have an answer. Are we gonna televise the thing? Either way you look at it, it's gonna cost us just throw up a number, $10,000, because we're gonna go 10,000 feet.
So I guess we need to find out if we have.
Okay, not to exceed $10,000.
Do we want to approve that tonight then?
Make a motion, somebody make a motion to approve $10,000 for camera.
I make a motion to.
I second it.
Favor?
So 10 for
Aye.
11.
Motion carried.
So you're gonna get a plan together and pick out,
I'll find out which
they're about
contractor.
8,500 feet that if they're doing it at about 20.
Yeah, right, you know, some kind of footage on that. And the other issue comes down where if and when, I'm sure we're gonna find a problem, then it's gonna cost extra to,
Well, that's
we
what.
gotta dig down to find, okay, we found the problem, doing here and here. We gotta get a backhoe in there, and these companies do that, to go down there and dig. Or can they put a balloon in there, a liner, like, I've seen that before.
Or you can line it.
You can line it. Maybe that would fix it, you know, that's another cost, just
Well,
find.
that's
the
what I
problem.
mean, that's why I don't wanna spend the 25,000, camera the whole thing and not be able to fix it.
Right.
Why don't you start with a small section, fix it?
I have no problem with that.
Right, I agree. That's the way that we should
That's what
approach
we're
it.
going for.
Yeah.
How he came together with the 25G was, he asked me how far is it, and I told him we got 3 miles of road. He said, you got 15,000 feet, he's all put together a quote, he said, this is what we do, this is our business.
Okay.
They're big, they're in Pine City, I kinda like keeping them local.
Yeah, great.
And it was Jones Construction, they're up in Pine City at 61.
So the problem is you might cut down the footage and their price might go up.
No, it said on a per need basis.
Okay.
It's quoted, yeah, it explicitly said that.
Now, does he do lining too, or not?
He does lining too,
Yeah,
this is what they do.
patch lining.
And he had a patch line.
So they can do from manhole to manhole?
Huh, what?
So we can do manhole to manhole, or they can do patch lining?
That's right, yeah, manhole to manhole, however you wanna do it, this is what they do.
Yeah.
So, and I'd be willing to call the guy tomorrow and meet with him and say, okay, this is what we wanna do, and I'll have Dean on board. And Paul, he's around a lot, I'll have as many people there that, so you're not getting the information secondhand.
Where do you think the hotspot is?
I think it's from your house down to where Evelyn, the car dealer lady lived.
Oh, Elaine?
Elaine,
Yeah.
right, between there and there. Schneider. And possibly going down to where Danny on Morrell Street lived. I think that's where the problems are. So as we lifted those manholes, we got water running like crazy. It's coming right through there.
Well, I think you need to take a look at it.
Yeah.
So,
And he said, I have to move off putting it on a chip. He's like a flash drive.
Okay.
I'm not high tech enough. We have that tree.
So from the corner of the circle or our house?
Yeah, from your house, you've got a manhole in front of your
Oh,
house.
yeah.
Come back in, you know where.
Yeah.
Somebody came on, I think it's your house, and wanted to know what the hell I was doing up there. Remember that, those people that came on, and had to unhook the fence and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. What are you doing up there?
I like that fancy fence.
Yeah. Well, I unhooked it, put it back together.
Good boy. That keeps our dog, so she ain't running around pooping in people's yards.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all I have. Anything else?
I have nothing.
When would you like to go look at that culvert, or do you wanna show them? the
Culvert
one
for what, where?
Lakeview Drive update, is that Mark
I'll-
and Jean
I'll take
Anderson's?
a look at that.
It's right,
I don't know the name, but I don't know what house it is. If you give me an
I
address,
will,
shoot me an email or text or whatever,
okay,
and I'll go down and look at it.
okay. Yeah, and I don't know, you'll be able to tell, cause I know nothing other than where the,
I need to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Right here.
There it is, right there. There it was stuck. That's the one I would like to go with.
This MTVO, these invoices need to be paid.
Yeah, absolutely. So does this one here.
Okay.
You've got these, I've sent those to you before. That's for the insurance.
Yep,
And you paid it or you did not?
I need to have it signed. I can't sign it, you have to have both of us signing it, so.
That's gotta go like
Yep,
tomorrow.
yep.
Otherwise, we're gonna pay 10% hit, but that's what the league says.
Okay, so each of these is a set, I can pay it all with one check though.
That, yeah, the land is all one check,
Okay,
and the other one's all one check.
yep, okay.
Danny, why do you have to jet and televise?
No, he said, well, they should be clean.
Okay.
Why don't we just televise? But if it's all full of tallow and full of some other debris, maybe concrete, sticks, stones, I don't know what.
He can't get his
Then
crawler.
Then, that's right, he's got a jet.
Okay, so he starts with the camera, and if he can't get the camera through,
Then he's gotta open it up to where he can get the camera through.
all right. So
That's the way I understand it, and I'll get more clarification.
yeah, that's kind of the way that has. If they never been jetted, please let us know. So basically, if he can't get the camera through, he's got to jet it, so he's got a clear path to go through. But if the water's running the way you're running, if you say it's running.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it needs to be jetted.
And it's all PVC pipe, and that stuff stays pretty clean.
Yeah.
Do you wanna take a look at that? 'Cause that's the guy that I think we should go with. The other guy that you and I met, it's kind of questionable whether he could get his equipment in there, and I just,
The 120 or the 180 guy?
the one in Chisholm.
He's the one that was.
Yeah, kind of questionable.
I think it was a little bit, so, what's this?
it's Jean's address.
Okay. I'll knock on the door.
Okay.
Should we,
Close this up.
I think I make a motion to end this meeting.
Second.
motion by Jay, second by-
Aye. Want to go to Walmart?